Luke, you gotta get closer to your mic, bud. You sound
Well,
terrible.
we're not recording yet.
Yes,
We're
we are.
recording
We're
it.
literally recording, though.
No,
Are you,
we're not.
is your thing not recording? He's just no, Luke. You're getting farther from your mic.
Yeah, bud. You gotta fix that.
Can you hear me?
Luke, Luke. We said closer to your mic, not farther.
No, but can you hear me better now?
Luke, please. No games.
Am I
right now.
popping? Am I popping?
Hello, welcome to the Heavily Altered Podcast. This is episode 3, right? Or 4? Is it 3 or 4?
3.
It's
three.
Okay, 3. I'm Naimur.
Daniel knows that because he does all the work. I'm Luke.
Well, and I'm Daniel. I was. You're like Daniel knows that because, and I'm Luke. just that immediately.
I finished
very
my
quick.
sentence.
I know, but it was like, yeah, it's whatever.
It was
It's
just
whatever.
quick turnaround because I already had
Okay,
it in my
alright.
brain.
So Luke clearly has been on serotonin today. He's very energetic.
Ben
Also, I
on
don't understand that-
serotonin.
It's just gallows humor because I'm gonna take all my finals tomorrow and fail them all.
I think he needs to turn off the light in his room, dim the lights, and get in like a calm atmosphere.
Also, he's still pretty far
No.
from his mic. I feel like he needs to get a little closer. Just
Can
put
you
it
guys
like
hear
right
me
next
okay?
to you.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
but
to
you just don't
next to
sound
me.
good.
Yeah,
Is it
but
at
you know
the
I
edge of
talk
your
loud.
desk? Is it at the
You know
edge
I
of your
talk
desk?
loud. It's not at the edge. It's like past where my keyboard is.
Just put it like, I don't know. Do you have notebooks?
I thought we were
There.
just gonna
Is
sit
that
there
any-
and
is
look
that any
disappointed
better?
at Luke.
That
I
is-
thought
that
we
is
were
way
just gonna
better.
stare
Okay,
and look
thank you.
disappointed.
Is that
at
any
Luke.
better? Will this not be too loud?
No, you'll be fine.
No.
You're fine.
No, you'll be
All right.
fine.
Whatever you say.
Never worry about it being too loud, unless like when you're screaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like-
What if I am?
Yeah.
What if I am?
See, you sound perfect right now. You sound so beautiful, Luke. You're perfect.
It's because I'm talking real smooth, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this whole time he's been the same distance from his mic. He's just been altering the tone of his voice so it sounds farther or closer away.
No, actually, it's the reverse. The mic was inside him, and then he slowly took it out, and that's why he sounds so much better.
Yes.
Sorry, Luke. Can you just read your social security number off that piece of paper real quick?
No.
634.
Oh my god, that's mine.
That was a
Ah!
joke. That was a joke.
That's mine.
That's Namer.
How'd you
That's
get my
Namer's whole social security number.
Yeah, I mean, do
Luke,
we all know
Luke
each
was,
other's
Luke
social
was at
security
Namer's
number?
house and wrote down his social security
Is that
number on
not
a
common
piece of
knowledge
paper.
amongst friends? Is that you're supposed to talk about your social
Social
security number
security
amongst your
numbers?
friends?
Yeah, we all know each other's social
Yeah.
security numbers.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
like
Guys,
many things.
if
about
your
friendships.
friends don't know your social security number, then you're not real
You're not
friends.
true friends.
Yeah, are they
Yeah,
really your
that's what I'm
friends?
saying.
Then? Nah,
Come on.
exactly.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah. So, how have you guys been? It's been a day since we talked to each other, but it's been a week roughly since we recorded the last podcast.
You know, I've been feeling pretty, because I haven't worked out in like 3 weeks and I feel awful.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because Luke's very skinny, or skinnier than me for sure. I'm actually trying to.
I'm getting not that skinny anymore. Is all I'm saying.
You just have dad bod. You have, like dad bod,
Yeah, I know.
where you're very skinny, but you have fat deposits like all around your
Yeah,
like tummy and stuff.
my thighs. I think every single like ounce of food I eat goes directly into my thighs and my ass. It sucks.
Man,
Luke's
I would
ass
to
is
be an
just
Instagram
thick,
model, huh?
bro.
Am I right, fellas? Yeah,
If Luke just took a picture of him from the hips down, everyone would be just it would be a
Mesmerized.
disaster. Watch out. Keep your girlfriends away from Instagram. Luke's gonna start taking below
keep
hip
the men
pics.
away, because if you just show the waist down, you'll think it's a Instagram model, like a girl, and you'll be like, whoa. Yeah.
There's still
Yeah.
actually a.
Are you gonna do it where it's gonna be your New Year's resolution to get back in shape?
No, it's going to be my resolution for this week, like it was my resolution for the last 2 weeks.
My week resolution. I feel like actually that might be a good thing to do, like weekly like goals. I've never really done that. I've
Mhm.
always just been like, okay, my goal is
Well,
now to
Elon
start
Musk
doing
does, so you're not Elon Musk.
You're right. I'm
You're
not
worse
Elon
than
Musk.
Elon
That's a
Musk.
very astute observation, Namer. Good job.
When I'm disappointed in my son, I'm gonna be like, "You're not Elon Musk. You'll never be Elon Musk," and then they'll always
What if he
want like,
becomes?
And he won't get that
What if he
reference
changes
because
his name to
Elon Musk
Elon
will be
Musk?
dead by that time.
no
Or in
X
prison,
Ash
hopefully,
Angel
crossing my
Archangel
fingers.
12B, X Ash Archangel 12B will be taking over the Tesla Enterprises. They'll be like, "What did you compute today?" You know. God,
Is he a robot?
tough crowd. No, his name is.
he
Have
a
you seen
robot?
his name, Luke? His
Yes,
son's
we
name.
all know his
No,
name.
you were definitely
Kyle.
implying that he was a robot.
It's Kyle.
No, it's not. It's like X Ash
You've,
Archangel.
you've seen that
12.
joke though, right? Where it's like because X represents Kai, and then
Yeah.
AE is pronounced I,
Kyle.
and then
Yeah, I don't know. It's really I'm very conflicted about Elon Musk because he's funny at times, like on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was really funny in Rick and Morty when he played Elon Tusk. And
yeah.
it's like, why does everybody want to talk about my tusks? I'm just here to talk about my.
But he also
Tesla."
doesn't treat his workers like human beings.
Well, name me
Hot
a
take.
CEO
Hey,
entrepreneur that
no
has.
nuance November's over.
Yeah, get out of here.
Namer,
Nobody
what were
wants
you
your-
what were you gonna say?
Get
Namer,
out.
what were you gonna say? Because I already know the answer. Is that none of them do,
Yeah.
and that's a bad thing, and that's a bad thing for all of them. So I don't look up to any of them.
Listen. What are you recording this on right now, huh? This podcast on a MacBook.
Toner.
No, on a MacBook.
Yeah.
He just reads the brand. It says Pro
Oh,
on
the
it.
mic. You're talking about the
I'm
mic.
recording on Pro.
I'm recording
Yeah,
on
but
Pro
see, Namer,
Tools.
the thing is though, how does like society live in society?
Hmm?
Hmm?
How does
God, you're
society
being so
if live in
trendy right now,
society?
dude.
He's really got
How
you with that one.
criticize-
How does
how
society if
criticize
live in
society-
society?
How criticize society if live in society? Hmm?
Yeah, there you
If
go.
food, why obese?
Wait, what?
It's
If
it's
food,
like
why
It
obese?
doesn't make any sense.
criticize society yet iPhone. It's just stupid shit like that. Oh my god.
Yeah,
For people who don't know,
yeah.
we're making a meme reference.
It's like a TikTok thing, right? I wonder if there will
I don't
ever be an
think Namer wants to think
iconic
that's a legitimate
meme to come
argument.
out of TikTok. Like, how Vine has those iconic vines that's like, come get y'all juice, and they like break the oven, whatever, and then like,
See, the thing is, I've never heard of that one before.
really?
And that was a horrible
The-
example because I've
What
never.
about the
heard
one
that
Drew
either.
Gooden made? The one Drew Gooden made that was like road work
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, the
Gee,
road
I sure hope it does.
I think
Like
there
stuff
are
like
I
that.
think that was
some.
also.
It's just there's so many that have become viral that it's hard to like pick one now. But you know
I think
that
it'll be
have you
after
seen
the
that video
fact.
of the girl who tried what was it? It was like LaCroix for the first time, and she goes, I don't like it. Well, actually, no.
No, it's not Lacroix.
Well,
it's
maybe.
kombucha. It's kombucha.
Oh, is it kombucha? Yeah, it's.
She, like,
but,
opens
like,
it, and
That's
she's
become
like-
a pretty.
Yeah, she's like,
Mhm.
it smells like a woman's restroom. It smells like a woman's restroom.
Have y'all seen on TikTok? Have y'all seen the guy who rates sinks?
Wait,
Rates
what?
what?
Rates public sinks.
Oh,
Oh
sink.
yeah,
like
sync TikTok.
faucets.
Sync TikTok.
Yeah,
Dang.
He'll be like,
What a
I give this
load.
one 3 sinks.
4 sinks out of 5.
3 sinks out of 5.
It's
And-
a
This is what
very
we could
interesting
become.
side of
Sink
TikTok.
It's just
Sync
there's
TikTok.
lots of funny like dude, it's always funny to see the videos that have the comments that are like, how is TikTok still free? Sync TikTok has
Or
a
it's
lot
like-
of those comments.
Or it's like y'all are
Mhm.
getting way too comfortable on this app, stuff like that has.
Oh yeah,
happened.
that too. People
constantly.
are getting too comfortable.
I don't get it.
It's like Twitter too. It's like people like talk about their like social life way too comfortably, like their intimate love life. Like, yo,
Mhm.
I don't care that you and your boyfriend are arguing over who should be on top. Like, just keep it to yourself. I don't care.
Keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself.
I only follow people on Twitter that make jokes all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't generally see stuff like that.
I mostly
know.
only follow content creators I like on Twitter and some news organization.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think
So-
they've done a better job at the viral tweets. Like, it just says so and so and so and so like this
Mhm.
tweet, and it's like a pretty viral tweet. And it's pretty funny.
Mhm.
Like the one I showed
Oh.
y'all earlier today, it said, "Why do men not go to or start a podcast instead of actually going to therapy?" That was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
That is
It's
funny.
funny.
Because we're starting a Wait, we're starting a podcast. Is that why you sent it to us? Oh my God, Luke! I think he sent
Oh.
it to us.
Oh
shit. 'Cause we're
Se-
starting
are
a
you
podcast.
serious? Are you serious? You serious?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm misreading the joke. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's not why. Maybe it was something else.
What?
That's because we started.
way.
Wait,
Okay,
are you
let's
being
brainstorm.
sarcastic
What
right
are other podcasts
now?
that
Oh
you
my
Wait,
could
are
do
you
Please
for-
stop.
Are you
I'm
being
just kidding.
sarcastic?
I'm joking.
Wait, I don't get it. I don't get the joke. What is? I don't get it.
Everybody knows Daniel's humor is the best when it comes to sarcasm. So
I
You
don't
know how
get
it
it.
is. You know how it
Doesn't
is.
make sense.
Okay, I want to talk about my first topic though, because
It's not
Yeah.
sarcasm.
All right.
It's verbal
So
irony.
Luke was talking about going to the gym, so I wanted to relate that to
Oh,
mine
yeah.
in a little bit, because I have to make it about me.
Actually, he was talking about working out, not going to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym to work out.
Because he never defined what working out meant, like working out his troubled marriage, or his troubled relationship with his parents.
Multiple marriages. Multiple
Okay, it's
marriages.
very ambiguous.
Right.
Yeah,
The reason he's in trouble with his marriage is because he has multiple of them, and they found out about the others.
yeah. Okay,
Um,
so yeah, he's working out, or he wants to work out, and
Mhm.
I
and
it's
he
just
probably
like
won't.
he probably won't. I don't know if I
Probably
will either.
Probably will not.
So I don't blame him.
What were you gonna? But I want to hear what Namer's gonna say. Namer, are you trying to get
Yeah.
on the grind?
Yeah, so trying to get something here. If I could actually progress this conversation forward.
Sorry, let's actually regress that conversation back 2 minutes. And no, I'll stop.
I feel
I'll
like-
stop. It's
The energy of this podcast is just opposite forces, and they just go together to create a stationary object.
this podcast hasn't moved in any single direction since it started. Hey,
Exactly.
it's okay though. We're only 12 minutes in.
What's also weirder is that there's three of us, so by definition, the forces should cancel out because it's three
should
different
cancel
directions.
out because they'd be unequal.
Yeah, but I feel like one of us is just coinciding with both sides. Like
If
a
two of
moderate-
us push at half of a force that the other person pushes in an opposite direction, then it would be stationary.
I'm just
Yes.
saying, if two people,
Okay,
if two people
this
are
is-
pushing
this is
against
too-
each other
the-
at the same force,
And then Luke
and
comes in with
both-
the opposite energy just
So,
now.
I would like to
canceled out.
point out is the irony of Namer saying this podcast is going nowhere, and then us talking about how the podcast is going nowhere for like a good solid minute and a half.
Truly nihilistic
Oh
approach
my
to
God.
podcasting. Okay, so basically, I wasn't feeling well because I feel like ever since like basically when I was a kid, I was pretty chubby. Obviously, you guys knew me pretty well. I was really chubby as a kid. My parents just always fed me. I didn't really exercise.
I
play
don't
video
see
games all the
color.
time. Okay, and
Daniel doesn't see weight.
keep it to yourself. all right?
Anyways,
We don't need
continue.
that. I'm just kidding. And I definitely was very like, especially when puberty started happening. I got really chubby because I guess that's what happens to your body in some cases. Because I didn't really
Did
grow
you?
because
I don't remember you getting
genetics.
any chubbier from elementary school to middle school.
I don't know. I also remember specifically a summer where my brother came home like long term after college because that was like the first time in a while he had stayed for a whole summer, and we would eat out like almost every night. Like we would go to McDonald's or like Del Taco or something, and so I
what you
gained a
do
lot
right
of weight
now?
then. No, I don't
Yeah,
do that.
sure.
Well, we've been doing better, but anyway, I'll get into that a
Okay.
little bit actually. And yeah, so I was really chubby back then. I was like a really chubby kid. I remember like you all used
Well,
to call
Luke,
me Manny.
try to pay attention. At least try to look interested, man.
I'm just yawning. Chill.
Okay.
God,
Yeah, continue,
this is a
Namer.
very
I'm sorry.
body
Luke's being
positive
so disrespectful.
podcast, huh?
Luke's being
I'm
so
this
not
might
being
become-
disrespectful right now.
disrespectful.
This might become a very serious, like, or personal thing. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty honest
Okay.
when it comes to that stuff. Like, especially when I'm more, because obviously I'm pretty overweight now. Like, I'm not obese or anything. At least I don't think. According to the BMI index, I am, which is alarming. I
I've
don't
heard
think
the
it's-
BMI index is extremely misleading.
It's
Because
very
like
misleading.
your
It
mass
says I'm
could
obese.
be muscle, it could be it's like
Yeah.
But then other people
So-
will claim, oh, actually, you're just wrong. It's just, anyways.
You're just unhealthy. Yeah. So I was really chubby. I never played sports or anything. And then in like leading up to 7th grade, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just do football? I've never played the game before. Like, this could be a fun experience. This could branch out. It could be fun. And then I joined football. And then in 7th grade, and I got really into football, just playing it, watching it, all that stuff. So I would go outside and play on top of like the workouts we would do in school. And like, I don't think I lost weight per se, but I think combined with puberty, I grew, and like I didn't gain weight, which I think is a big thing. And so I looked pretty good. Like I was like, because for me, it's always been the issue of like wearing a t-shirt. It just feels weird. You feel like there's like
Yeah.
a gut hanging out or like, like stuff like that. And then like I didn't really feel that once I was like late 7th grade. I was like, whoa, like I didn't realize it changed this much. And then it carried on to 8th grade. I was still playing football. And then 9th grade, I was like pretty in shape. I remember 9th grade specifically because I was doing band on top of that with y'all. That like during the summer band and football, there'd be nights or days where I would go to school at 6 a.m. for like the beginning of football, and then stay until like 8 p.m. when combined with summer band and stuff like that. So I was just like outside all day. And then I remember I was in really good shape back then. And then sophomore year, I kind of like got lazier because like I knew I was about to quit football. And then by junior year, I wasn't too bad. But then senior year, I just basically stopped. Like I just stopped caring really. And so I like gained, I think probably 10 or 20 pounds, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for reference, so I looked today, or like, no, I looked last week and it said I was 216. And I was like, geez, man, I'm 216. Like, I knew once I broke the 200 mark, I was like, yeah, I gotta work on this, man. Because 200 as like a 5'7" person, it's way too much. So yeah, so long story short, I want to get back into at least looking better, you know, because I liked how I felt in like 8th grade and 9th grade. It's really weird because like, I don't know if you guys feel this, but when you look at your past selves, like, because when I was in those moments, like living those moments, I never thought like, wow, I feel like I feel good looking. I feel like I'm in shape. Like, I feel good about my body and stuff, right? But then like looking back at it in the photos, I'm like, dude, like, wow, I should have been more appreciative of that time. Like, I look so good. So, I mean, long story short, I don't. All right, go ahead, Dano. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I don't want to cut you off. Were you gonna finish up with something, like wrap it up or say something? I was
wrapping up. Basically, so I think for me it's really weird because I gained a lot of muscle from football. So I think I do have a lot of muscle. Like, I'm a pretty burly dude when it comes to that, but I also have fat on top of that. So it's like it's a little weird. So like I wouldn't say I'm like obese. I'm definitely not obese. Like, I think I'm healthier than a lot of people. I'm definitely more athletic than most people that are my weight and height. But like I think I'm pretty good in terms of sports and stuff. But
yeah,
I definitely need to like lose. I would like to lose maybe 30 pounds. Like 30 pounds, I'll be like really good shape for like what I used to be. And then like the goal would probably be to like 150. And that would take like a year, which I'm fine with. I just have to.
That's what I weigh.
Yeah, because I know you guys have never really. Yeah, go ahead. I'll step in again because I feel like I took over.
Yeah, if you want, we can talk back and forth. You can cut us off as well and keep saying what you were saying. I was just gonna say I wanted to talk about that thing where you said you weren't appreciative of how like good you felt at that time, and I feel that happens like in cycles for me, where like I will just like wake up one day and I'll be like, I'm loving the way I look today. And then a month down the line, I'll wake up and just be like, God, I hate everything about me. And it's just this weird cycle. And I'll be like, God, why was it like a month ago that I woke up and felt the best that I felt in forever? And like now I can't see any of that. It's just this weird like cycle for me. And I definitely don't like appreciate it enough or balance out that kind of like negative energy enough with like this surge of positive energy that I sometimes have. So
yeah,
I kind of
mean,
understand that feeling.
For me, I think the main key reason why I look so good and stuff like that was just because football, like at least going to the gym for school every single day. I had to work out every day at school. Like, I think that in of itself was a good motivation because like I couldn't control it. Like, I had to go to school to do that stuff. So like, that clearly like was a good discipline. And the problem is with me, at least because I've been trying to lose weight since I was a little kid. Like, I've always been like I've always had surges. Like, I'm sure a lot of people that are overweight or something have had that feeling where it's like, yes, I'm like, I have the momentum. I'm going to work out. I'm going to go run a mile or two every day. And they do that for maybe a week.
Man.
Like, this is what happens to me. I do it for like a week. Then I just stop. Right. And then like maybe something happens.
I think even
you make one excuse and then you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then you make another excuse that day and then it just racks up and
tomorrow turns into a month.
Well, that's how it works.
Then,
Like, I have those surges too. Like, Daniel knows I this year I went to the gym almost every day for like 4 or 5 weeks. And then 2 of the machines that I used there just stopped working. And I just stopped going. And I haven't been in since the week before Thanksgiving break.
And it's super tough because of COVID.
I think it's so funny. I was going to say, I think that's so funny because it's just the littlest things that can distract us from our workout regimen.
Yeah,
where it's like,
for sure.
You'll be like what you're saying, you're like, you have a consistent schedule for like upwards of a month or however long it was. It was like for a long time. And then suddenly a machine stops working and you're just like, God, it all falls apart. And it's almost comical how like we desire to like make ourselves better so much, but then we also let every little thing hold us back. I don't know. I just think
kind of
that's
trendy, right? Because that's why it's interesting now. Because I think actually I'm preferring that it came to me now instead of at the beginning of the year. Because I feel like a lot of people don't carry through their New Year's resolutions. But if you're like going into the year, like starting this habit, like prior, like you spend like a couple weeks prior to the new year, then I think it could like help boost it for the better too, in my opinion, because I've never really done it like that. And just for me, it's like I remember I was doing pretty well for like the first, like I remember a week before spring break, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a habit now. I'm gonna go to sleep a little bit earlier, like 11 p.m. I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m., go to the gym, and I'll go on the bike and stuff, and then I'll go back home, take a nap, and then go to school, right? Every day of the week for the weekdays and stuff, right? I did really good at carrying that. Like I was doing that very well. And then with spring break, I was like, okay, I don't really need to wake up early because I don't have school, so I'll do it during the day. And I was doing that, and then wham, COVID happens, school gets canceled, then the gym is closed down, or the one I go to is closed because of COVID. I'm just like, wow, like my life was actually going in a good direction. Like as long as I felt like I was generally keeping up, and then COVID just was like, nah.
Do you guys
I mean, it's up to me really, but still.
I was gonna say, do you think COVID is one of the reasons that you've kind of like faltered on like? Because I feel like, just on a mental level, like with COVID going on, I've kind of just given up. Like I don't see people that often, so I often don't care how I look most of the time, and I've just kind of like, maybe it's a mental thing for me where it's just like, I could understand why COVID would, or like the whole virus would kind of discourage people from like working out now and trying to get better, because it's like, I'm not going to see anyone. I've been in my room for like 3 months now, and it's like nothing's getting better. What's the point? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I think part of it is also college. Oh, what'd you say, Luke? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I said that's definitely a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think college, like for me,
a big reason.
I don't think I like went overboard with food. Basically, I would just get Chick-fil-A every day because it was right next to my. It was like not that far, so I was just like just getting it every day, and like, I didn't overeat or anything, especially like through college. But then I also was like, I was a pretty homebody. Like I would just stay in my dorm and like work on class and do homework, stuff like that. So I feel like I need.
Luke can attest that I had that issue or I still do.
Yeah.
I would never leave the hallway of our dorm. There were some days where I never leave the hallway of our dorm. It's like that can't be good for you. Like I never saw outside air. Like.
Yeah, so I'm hoping at least at home, with my mom being able to cook me an actual meal, like most of the time, for however long I'm here for, and just practicing better habits. I think it'll carry into the next year, and then also when I'm at school, because at school, like for me, I started making oatmeal for breakfast because it's a pretty low calorie, or for lunch because I wake up like around lunchtime now, so it's a pretty good low calorie meal. So that's pretty good, but I don't know how I'm gonna make that at university, because I don't have a kitchen
Luke,
or anything.
I was gonna say, I feel like you might relate to this, but I felt like if cooking was a more available option, I would eat healthier, because I could cook myself like scrambled eggs for breakfast. One of the things that aren't like
that's one of the things that I
like
That's one of the things I had on my topic list, is that I want to cook more, but I have no means to. Because, like, first of all, I'm more or less broke. Second of all, there's just no way to cook here, or for most of my life, or for most of my,
most of
well, it's like also combined with that, it's just it takes time. Like I think the beauty about fast food is that you just go to it and then instantly ready, like while you're there. Whereas with cooking, you'd be like, all right, I gotta prep this out. Gotta start cooking.
You also
gotta
have
wait
to get
the time
groceries, and that takes time.
Yeah, it's just like it takes work out of you because it's just extra work to put in. So I guess the solution to that would be like meal prepping. Like you spend a Sunday just cooking all your food for the week, which that'd be an interesting thing to see.
I have a question for you guys. It's related to all this. How do you handle like lows and highs in confidence and stuff like that? Like, what do you guys do? Like, especially on your like worst days when you're feeling like awful.
I don't either. I do very terribly at it. I'm very bad.
Okay, then maybe kind of describe like, just kind of talk about like what it feels like or why that might happen where you have these highs and lows. I'm just kind of
well.
Oh yeah, go ahead first.
Well, I just kind of tend to dress nicer on days that I don't feel good about myself. Like on days that I'm not feeling so good, I'll actually put on jeans as opposed to wearing sweatpants.
So now I know every time Luke's wearing jeans.
Every time I'm wearing jeans for no reason. For no reason. Yeah, I've had a bad day. But like if I'm hanging out with you guys, or if I'm going on a date, or if I'm doing something with my family, I'll wear jeans, obviously, because that's like an actual thing to wear jeans on. But if I'm just wearing jeans and I'm lounging around, I kind of
you know what,
probably
Luke?
probably Yeah.
But Luke, when we
I
were
was-
sleeping
I was
over,
gonna
you
say
were
I
wearing
feel
jeans
the
to bed.
opposite. I was gonna say I feel the
Truly
complete
opposite?
opposite. You can tell my mood depending on how well dressed I am. If I am in sweats and it's like 4 p.m. in the afternoon and I'm still in sweats, you can tell I'm feeling like a lazy piece of shit that entire day. Like it kind of determines my mood. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm very all over the place. Like for me, it's just like I think I carry a lot of that on myself. Like if most people just meet me, and like you guys too. Like I think you guys have very rarely seen me either sad or mad, just in general, right? Like it's a very rare thing for me. Because I just feel like that's like my mentality.
I
like
think
to,
I don't think we've ever really seen each other sad or mad, or we have, but not very rarely.
No. Here's what I'm gonna say. I've seen Luke mad more times than I can count. Seeing any of you guys sad is like next to zero, and maybe we should talk about that in a few moments. Because like
we should talk about
there's, like,
the
a
one time
stigma
that I got
around
mad a couple weeks ago.
yeah, we can talk about that too.
I was jokingly angry because I didn't have enough clothes hangers for the day or for the week. So I was holding all my
gave
clothes
him a
hangers in
few.
one hand, and I got jokingly mad, and I slammed them all down onto my bed, and every single one of my clothes hangers just snapped. They all
rendering
just
them
broke.
useless
At the neck.
So
too.
not only
Completely useless.
not only did he make his problem worse, he exacerbated the issue that was already going on. But it was just, oh my god, it was so funny because I was like, how do you even do that? Like he doesn't know his own strength. He just snaps it like bah.
well, I feel like Luke's also the most easy to get visibly frustrated and angry. Like like take for the podcast when like the audio isn't working, he'll just get very mad like really quickly. Like he'll start cursing.
Okay, well,
being really angry.
frustrated for sure, but I don't actually get angry, like most of the time. Like that time was just a joke. Like I wasn't
No,
even
was it?
actually
No,
mad. I was
was
just
it, bro?
mildly. No, not what you're talking
frustrated.
about. I'm talking about with,
He was
I'm talking about with
mildly
the clothes hangers.
frustrated.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the.
I'm talking about with
hanger.
the
I'm
clothes
not talking about
hangers.
the hanger.
No. Yeah, I was frustrated at what you're talking about. I'm talking about with the clothes hangers. I was
What is name I'm
jokingly
talking about? I wasn't
mad.
listening for about 2 seconds.
When
Just-
that time that my audio wasn't working and I was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get frustrated.
But that
pretty
is
easily.
extremely frustrating because it's like you don't even know what to
Yeah.
do. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I get
there's my
frustrated
dog
pretty easily.
barking.
I will never
That's a
forget
fact.
that moment of Luke, like his most, I guess, frustrated I've
Oh.
seen him in a long
Are we gonna
time.
talk about this? This is so funny.
Can we
I
talk
already
about
know
Luke?
what Namer's gonna bring up. I already know what he's
I
gonna
don't know
bring
what
up.
you're going to talk about.
Uh,
Luke doesn't know. I
sleepover.
already know
Okay.
this.
Sleepover, your dad had to drop you off. You know what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about? Okay. So can I talk about
yeah.
it? Is that okay? All right.
Yeah, we
so,
can talk about it.
I'm gonna
It
say
was
from
just
my
funny to
perspective.
us.
Daniel can explain it to him too, and then Luke can finally explain himself because I feel like he is obviously it's about him.
Luke
so
has
he
the
should.
most justified perspective on this.
In his eyes, yeah.
Go ahead.
So basically, it's summer. I want to say before sophomore year, right? Or is it after?
No, it was
sophomore year?
before our junior year. Before our junior year.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I had just gotten
I
my car.
don't
Yeah,
know. I
that's
don't have a
right.
good memory.
That's right. Because Luke had a car, and he got his car
Yeah.
like in May of sophomore.
I got
year.
my car like the day before sophomore year ended. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, it's summer. It's like July or something, and I invited them to sleep over, and I asked my mom, something about we were gonna schedule a sleepover, and I asked my mom like, "Yo, can Luke and Daniel sleep over?" Like, and she's like, "Oh, we have a party to go to, like a family friend party to go to," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, she's like, "You have to go." I was like, "Okay, can I bring them then?" And then we just go back to the house later. She's like, "Yeah, perfectly fine. Like, that's cool. I'd actually appreciate that. I feel like they'd appreciate guests or whatever." And so I'm from Bangladesh, and we have like a specific, like it's like a specific vibe. You know what I mean? Like it's like a get together, but there's a lot of people. They're talking. Just like cultural food being served and stuff like that. And like Luke and Daniel, they follow my mom to the party, and so
In the
Luke
car.
was going. Yeah, and so Luke had to pick up his brother.
We're
'cause
just
his brother
chasing
usually
after
sleeps over with us. Yeah. So Luke has to pick up his brother, or at some point he will have to pick up his brother because he's gonna sleep over with us. Because Luke asked beforehand, and I said yeah, because we like Rory, his brother. He's pretty chill.
Yeah.
And so we go to the party, and the thing about brown parties, I'll call them because that's what we do call them. It's okay for me to say it, not for y'all. But
Melatonin parties.
Oh god.
Yikes.
That's not the right
you mean
thing.
melanin?
Oh wait,
Melanin.
He means melanin. Oh my god.
Yeah.
bro.
So basically, we go there. The thing about brown parties is they serve food really late usually, because people usually come very late and they stay very late. And so me, like I want to like spend the littlest possible amount of time there because I want to just go back home. So I was waiting for the food to come, and we were just like chilling. We were just talking, making stuff, or like talking around and stuff like that. And then it's like 9 p.m. I'm like, okay, the food will hopefully be ready soon. It's like 9:30. It's ready soon. Then I go downstairs to ask because I'm like, we have to get going because Luke has to go pick up Rory at a specific time from his parents. And then, because his parents said if you don't pick him up, it's gonna be a big deal. Like, they just like you have to come back by like what was it 10 or like 9:45 or something. So I'm like, okay, let's
about that.
Let's,
I don't know.
Let's see. I'm like, okay, mom, like the food's clearly not ready in time. Like, can we just go? And then like the person whose house it was, the mother was like, no, stay. The food's about to happen. I'm like, okay. And then like Luke's getting very visibly upset. Like you could tell he's like, we need to go, right? And then I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm trying. And then, they basically just keep making us wait until like 10 p.m. when the food comes. I like rush to eat the food. Luke rushes to eat his food. Daniel rushes. I'm like, Mom, we have to go. And she's like, okay, fine. So we go. Luke's mom starts calling him multiple times, and she like calls, and he gets like, he starts yelling at her. I assume she yells at him, stuff like that, right? And I guess whatever goes down, it basically is like she's like, you need to come home, and you're not allowed to go to sleep over tonight. You have to stay home, right? So this kind of screws things because, one, I didn't bring my car, or Daniel didn't bring his, and Luke was our ride to my house. So, like, Luke basically went to the house, or his house. I'll never forget, in the car, it was so funny because he was so angry. You could see him so visibly mad. And, like, the way he was in a parallel parking spot.
I'm pretty sure the car was silent the entire way home.
I think it was.
It was like a 25-minute drive.
I think that was the most tense car ride I've ever been in.
Well, it was a very awkward car ride. Like, me and Daniel were clearly very chill. But, like, you could tell Luke was very upset, right? And so I remember Luke was like, in the car. He starts the car, right? And, like, the way he reversed, he would, like, slam the gas. But, like, not, like, it would be going really fast. But as soon as he, like, an inch away from the car, he just stopped, right? And then he would just, like aggressively touch the brake pad or whatever. Not the brake pad. Not the steering wheel, the little knob thing.
Oh, the gear shift.
The gear shift, yeah.
I guess.
So he changes it back, goes forward. As soon as he's about to, like, an inch away from the next car in front of him, stops. And then, like, he did so aggressively, yet so, like, safely. It was so weird. Like,
it was so meticulous, yet out of frustration. It was very strange. It was like he'd be reversing back and then a sudden, like, instant stop. And it happened to be, like, perfectly spaced with the car just, like, inches away. And then he would...
It was, like, graceful, but, like,
yeah, it was weird. It was a weird... I've never seen... What I wanted to say is I've never seen somebody make an 18-point turn look so aggressive, yet calm at the same time. And the reason... I want to point this out. It was like an 18-point turn because this party had a ton of people and the street was narrow and there were cars lined the entire way and his car was jammed in between two cars and we're like, I don't know how old, we just got our driver's license. So it's like not easy for us to pull out of these places.
Yeah, I was probably 16 in a few months.
Yeah,
actually, though, this was like July, so yeah, no.
You were about
the funny part though was we were facing the wrong way. You wanted to like U-turn on this street to go out to the other street. And I was like, Luke, you could just pull forward and we'll go through the neighborhood and come out. And it was like, no. And he was just working so hard to turn the entire car around when there's absolutely zero space to do it. I swear to God, that took like 3 minutes of you just trying to get the car out of the spot.
In retrospect,
and the entire time, Naimur and I were just silent.
It was pretty funny. In retrospect, I was so pissed off.
No, the way Daniel also, like, so how typically Daniel gives directions, it's so funny how Daniel gives directions to Luke, because it's kind of like a supportive mom. It's like, okay, right here, you're going to take a turn.
I was doing
like
directions. I'll be like, oh, I'll get directions.
All right, you're going to take a right here. And he's like, okay, that was a great turn. Okay, so in like a little bit more, you're gonna stay on this lane. Okay, so you're good for a while.
I give very specific. I give very specific directions because I never want somebody to be like.
You get very, very specific until you're not specific enough.
No, it's not even specific. It's just like how sweet he is. He's like, okay, that was a great turn. Okay, you're gonna stay here for a little bit.
So,
all right, good.
Okay, so in about 2 lights, you're going to turn right, and then I'll be like, okay, there's a light coming up, you're going to turn right. Okay, you're going to turn right here. Oh, great. Okay, so yeah, great, you pulled into the correct lane. We're gonna stay in this lane and we're gonna keep go. It's like, it's just the most absurd
you're gonna turn
thing.
left. You're gonna turn left here. Okay, that was a really good turn. Thank you. And okay, you're doing really good, man. And you do this like constant reassurance and stuff. It's so funny. And like I just remember that happening. And then we go to basically Luke like parks at. So Daniel and Luke are pretty like they live right next to each other.
Wait, can I say one thing while we're in the car ride scenario?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's funny whenever because it was silent. I know everybody has done this. Whenever there's an awkward car ride, you get your phone out and pretend like you're doing something on it, but you never know what to do. I did that all the time where I'd be like, oh, let me check my text. Oh, no text from anyone, huh? Let me just scroll through all of the names on my text list. Huh, no one there. And it's like, maybe I should go on like Reddit or something and distract myself, but I feel bad doing that, so I kind of just pretend like I'm doing something on my phone, and it's just this awkward
my
silence of me
go-to is I
looking
go
at
to
my
Spotify.
text. Okay, set my phone down. Okay, look at my text. Okay, set my phone down. Okay, look at my... It's like just this back and forth of trying to pretend like something
usually I just go on Spotify. I usually have my headphones and listening to music, so I'm like like scrolling through the songs because I will change the song. So it is kind of like an active thing, not just like doing it to purposely hide. But yeah, and so we finally get to Luke's house. Wait, what was that?
Yeah. I was just gonna say I can never find something that distracts me long enough to where it doesn't feel like I'm just like. Anyways,
yeah, me
just
too,
continue.
man.
Yeah.
If only there was like a game you could play for like 20 seconds. You know what I mean? Like just occupies yourself for 20 seconds.
Like any mobile game.
No, but like one game.
No,
like,
most of them require like. Yeah.
At least 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and we
you
need
can't
one
play
that
Tetris.
lasts, like,
Tetris
20
lasts for like
seconds.
minutes. If you're good, if you suck, that's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were at Luke's house, and Luke's like, "I'm sorry, guys. Like, I can't take all. You guys just have to figure out a way to get to Naimur's. I'm sorry, man." And so he just like slams his car, goes inside. He's like, "We assume that's the end of we're gonna hear from Luke for the rest of the night. If that."
Did I have a car then?
Yeah, you did. Yes, because how did we get back?
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh god, it was so funny. So I'm like, all right, so what are we gonna do? Do you even have your house key? And Daniel's like, no, but he has like a keypad or something to his front door. So he opens the keypad. And he's like, oh, my parents are probably not expecting me. They're gonna be very confused. And so like the door opens, alarm
I think
goes
I
off.
jumped them. Like I scared them. The alarm didn't go off, but because they're like, Daniel, is that you? Like that's what I hear from upstairs. Daniel, is that you? Because I didn't tell them I was coming home because I was like, oh, I wasn't planning on it, and I kind of forgotten the.
But they're white people. They're very accepting.
Because
we told them what happened. Yeah, remember, like, I was like, oh god, this pays to be white, doesn't it? Because Daniel's.
I think my parents
like,
genuinely thought somebody was breaking in, and then I had to tell them this awkward story of like, something bad happened, but I don't know what it was exactly. Luke just got on a phone call, and now we're not going to a sleepover.
No,
what?
I remember how it was because your dad was like, Daniel, is that you? Because he's like coming up from downstairs or upstairs, and he's like looking down, and then you're like, yeah,
over the balcony or whatever.
Like Luke got in trouble, so he can't take us back. So we're gonna use my car, and then he's like, oh okay, and then your mom's like to your dad. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's like Daniel's dad. Like, is everything okay? Who is that? It's like, it's Daniel. It's like, oh okay. And then Daniel was like explaining. He's like, yeah, so like we went to the party. I was like,
I explained it
family
again.
party. No, I was like family party.
It,
I didn't want them to think we were going to like a a high school party or anything like that. He's like, oh yeah, we were. And she's like, no, yeah, we know, it's cool.
My parents knew that. That was the funniest part. They're like,
yeah,
him going to a party, never would happen. Exactly. He got invited to a party. What?
And they were like, okay, just make sure you drive safe. You get your keys. I'm like, okay. I was like, sweet, that was cool. And so we just drove back. And so me and Daniel were like, okay, I guess we're just gonna have a sleepover by ourselves for tonight. Daniel was like, I was like, do you want to just drive around the neighborhood, like my neighborhood, for a while, or for like a couple, 30, 40 minutes? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we just talked and stuff. And we get a text like, from Luke that's like, my parents changed their mind. They're letting me come back, but my dad's dropping me and my brother off. And we're like, oh, okay, sweet. And so, like the way it's really convoluted, it's a very hard way to get into my neighborhood. I'm not going to say why, because I feel like that would make me seem super rich, but it's not really. It's just
ironic.
I think you just doxed yourself by saying that.
No,
Luke, what the?
I live in Highland Park. Wait, what did you say?
I said it's ironic because you're a person of color.
You said it'll make you seem rich, and then he said ironic because you're anyways.
Yeah, I know.
It was a bad joke. It was a horrible joke. It was a horrible joke.
A bad joke.
But yeah, it was very difficult to get into the neighborhood, and so, but then
Well, it's also just a
dad
large
drops him
neighborhood.
off.
I'm just gonna point that out. Like, there's so many
It
roads.
is
like,
pretty
it's just-
large
it's easy
area.
to get lost.
And so
Yeah.
Luke's dad just drops him off, and like you can tell Luke's like a little angry. I'm like, "What's up, little baby?" And he like smiles, like gives me that little smile that he does when he's angry, but he's also like not that angry anymore. And then like
Yeah.
Rory comes out too, and he's super chill about it. And then we just like chillax for the rest of the night.
I don't think
remember what
Rory
we
gives
did.
a shit about anything, bro. I don't think he gives a shit
No.
about anything. He literally,
Yeah.
you could yell at him and tell him he's a piece of shit, and he would literally walk into the other room and crack a joke 2 seconds in and not give a shit about anything. Like,
That's
Yeah,
just
and
the
so
kind
what
of-
I don't remember what happened afterwards. Like I don't remember what happened at our like at my house or
that
anything.
night was pretty bad.
I think the rest of the night was just chill. That was the night we watched
Yeah.
Westworld, I think.
Was
Yeah.
it?
No, it wasn't. No, it
I
wasn't.
think so. I'm pretty
No,
sure
it
it was.
wasn't. That was
We did watch it
that
when
in
Rory was there.
Sophomore year. No, we watched the season. Oh yeah, we did watch the season finale of season 1. I remember that because I had finished the season, or almost finished season 1.
That must,
You guys had already
that makes
finished
sense.
it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else we did. Did we watch anything else? I
I
don't
can't
remember.
remember anything else.
Who knows? I think we might have.
And then I
watched
think we might have
something
gotten
else at some
donuts the
point,
next day. We might have gotten
We did
donuts
get
the next
donuts the
day.
next day. I remember that.
And then
I also, for everyone who's listening, I just want to clarify this is all pre-COVID. All of
Yeah,
this
like 2 or 3
stuff. I know
years
we
ago.
said that at the beginning, but yeah.
Or no, or did you
Some
guys have
people they
band
hear the word
practice next
party
day?
and then they just panic. You're
No.
having.
No, we didn't.
Did you guys
That wasn't band. That was right before band started, I think, for that year.
I thought you guys did because you guys had to leave really early because it was like 8 a.m. You're like, okay.
Not that morning. That
I
was
don't
another
remember.
time. That was when the
You're
power
asking me
went
to
out.
remember way too much.
Oh, that was when the power went out. That
Yeah,
was a different.
That was when the power
Okay.
went out. Yeah.
That was an
Oh, we
interesting
have
one as
another
well.
story about that. I wanted to say something about the confidence stuff. Just give people a quick thing, but we're kind of
probably
off
need
the
that more than
topic. So
anything.
should I just awkwardly
you can bring it back
interject
in.
here?
Yeah, just bring it back in. Okay.
Okay.
So we're just talking about weight, confidence, all that.
Yeah. That's just from earlier, basically. I'm just kind of like, so we went on this tangent about Luke being mad, and it was actually this kind of funny story. But anyways, so I saw this TikTok that was like, here's something that my boyfriend sends me every time I have like confidence issues or whatever, and it's a clip from the Call Her Daddy podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a decent podcast. I haven't listened to a whole ton of it, but basically there's an episode with, and I pulled this up just because I wanted to get the name right. I think it's Harry Jowsey. I think that's correct. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. And he talks about like, there's this part where they talk about confidence, and I just thought it was a really interesting clip. His story is I'm gonna try and tell this, but I would suggest you just go listen to it because it's really good. He basically says, I had this really incredibly, like almost uncomfortably skinny friend in high school. He was like very thin, like very lanky, all of this stuff, and he had the most confidence I had ever seen in any single person. And I was so confused. He was like, I was so confused. Like, I didn't understand. Like, why was he so confident in himself? And I'm not saying, like, he was unattractive or anything. It just felt, like, weird. It's like, how can you be so confident? And I feel like complete trash. Yet, like, we're both, like, similar people. We're not, like... So, anyways, he asked the guy, like, who also happened to be dating one of the hottest girls in the school at the time, like, how do you have so much confidence? And he goes on this tangent about how he came to the conclusion that because he will have this body for the rest of his life, you know, he can do some things to change it. He can try and work out, blah, blah, blah. He can try to do all these things. It's like, but there's only so much you can do. And so his theory was, I might as well just be as happy as I can be with who I am, than constantly point out all the flaws. And if I'm just happy, if I just try to be happy with everything that I am and everything about me, then I can just enjoy life more. Like, it's more tolerable. Life is more tolerable if you are just trying to be as happy as you can be. I don't know. It was just an interesting, like, point. And I understand, like, what I'm saying is not an easy thing to pull off. It's not easy to just go in front of a mirror and say, oh, I'm just going to be happy about the way I look. It's really hard to do that. But it was really interesting to hear that, like, at least strive for that idea where it's like, I'm okay with this to a certain degree.
I want to... Naimur, did you want to say anything about that?
You can go first.
No, I was going to change the topic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For me, it's really weird because I feel like, in terms of confidence, like I think I am very confident with just like in social situations and stuff like that. I consider myself very
Mhm.
funny, like, have like fun personality. Just like,
I've never laughed at a single joke you've said.
well, dang, you can't please them all, can you? But,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
Specifically, you can't
I'd
please one
say
of
I
them.
appear very confident, but then when I'm like by myself and stuff, that like, it's very. I could see it
Mhm.
being fake. Like, like I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. When I'm with people, I like try to be
Oh, yeah.
funny, even when I don't necessarily feel good, stuff like that. Because I just
Mhm.
like making others feel better, like or just have fun, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so like for me, I don't think I necessarily love like the way I am, like physically. I think physically, if I ever like, I think that's why it's really important to me now that I'm finally like at least I'm finally trying. Like let's see, who knows? Maybe in like a week or two from now, I will have given up on this whole like just watching my calories and counting
Mhm.
them and making
Mhm.
sure that I have a deficit and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't want to because I'm just thinking back to like when I was in early high school, late middle school. Like I really liked with how I really did like how I looked. Like I liked that I didn't really have to struggle with fitting in things, or like I just
Mhm.
liked that it didn't look weird in certain shirts that I had and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
for me, I don't know about loving yourself if that always works for me personally because I don't think I've ever
Mhm.
truly like loved myself, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
do recognize my strengths and my weaknesses, but like
Mhm.
I always self-deprecate myself in the name of like there's a sense of truth to stuff, right? Like I always call myself like fat or whatever as a joke, like say
Mhm.
certain like flaws about me. I'm sure many of you guys do too, but the problem is for
Mhm.
me, like I do that as a coping mechanism for my flaws, whereas when someone else jokes about it, right, like let's say someone else calls me fat, like even if they don't
Mhm.
necessarily mean it, like I take that to heart. Like I really don't like it when
Right.
people do that. It's my
Mhm.
biggest, it's like my biggest, like you can make fun of like my personality, stuff like that, but like when you like call me fat or physical stuff like that, it's just like it really rubs me the wrong way. Like I just don't like it. It makes
Mhm.
me angry. Even though I
Yeah.
can understand like I paint myself as like a really jokeable dude. Like you could say
Some
anything
guy
like
that
that
you
hurt.
paint yourself as somebody that can take punches, but
Because
that
I
might
also
not always be the
pull
case.
punches on people as a joke too, right? Like I make fun of you
Mhm.
all the time,
Yeah.
right? And you guys make fun of me back, but it's a different thing because you make fun of like my
Yeah.
But I
humor or
feel
just
like we also
certain thing else.
understand the limitations. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, no, everybody has
Yeah.
limits. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a point where everyone draws a line when being
Mhm.
made fun of.
I think it's because I
Like
kind of
it can
hide
be
that limit for me, my boundary, because I
Mhm.
don't make it really known. So like I don't really
Especially
blame
with
people.
people
But it
that you're
makes me
not
mad
that
sometimes.
close with. Especially
Yeah,
with
for
people you're
sure.
not that close with. I
I
was
don't
gonna
know.
say.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
I was just gonna point out, Namer. I like your point about like how when you're around other people, you kind of just act like, this just joking person, this outgoing person. I feel like, and you're like you're not sure if that's kind of like lying to people. I feel like you portray yourself as an extrovert when you're with other people, especially people that you're not that close with. And I don't actually know if you are an extrovert, if
I
that
think I
makes sense.
am to a degree. I think when I'm with
Mm-hmm.
people, I'm very extroverted, but I'm fine with being by myself. Or I enjoy being by myself too. I never dread it,
Mm-hmm.
like, because
Yeah.
I do spend a lot of time, at least before COVID and before my brother had come back into town. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
mom would go to work and I would be home alone most of the time before college.
Right.
So like, I
Mm-hmm.
usually like was fine being with I spent a lot of time by myself, you know. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
like I'm fine with being by myself. Like it's really weird because it's been a while since I've been in social situations because of COVID. But I do
Yeah.
like social situations. That's why school was kind of fun too. Going to lunch, hanging out with random people, just like joking around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do like those
Yeah.
moments, but I also like the
Yeah.
alone time too. But it's weird though because there's an imbalance right now. So I feel like it's
I was
more
gonna
weird than
say-
anything. I don't find it uncomfortable.
I was gonna
I
say
think I'm definitely an introvert.
the. Yeah. I recharge alone when I'm alone. Like I
Same.
need alone time so I
Yeah.
can recharge myself. But I will
Yeah.
say there are some times where like being alone isn't the best thing for me, so spending time with you guys is the way I recharge. That
Yeah,
does
for
happen
sure.
sometimes.
Yeah, when I
But
talk to you guys,
it's
it
never with
definitely
like.
fixes my.
But my thing is, I never recharge when it's like more than 4 people. Like if it's 5, 6, 7 people, I'm like that is
Yeah.
something that's
no, it's
draining.
out
to
of
me.
the realm of possibility. I was gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
I recharge when I'm alone or when I'm pretending to be alone. Like if I'm like, for example, if I'm just in our dorm with you, Daniel, and I'm like reading my book and I have my headphones in
Mhm.
and not really paying anything, I'm not paying attention to anything outside of
Yeah.
my book and my music. Then
Mhm.
that's how I recharge. Or
Yeah,
like when
it's
I'm writing,
It's like we're not
when
even
I'm
like.
listening to music and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for
Yeah.
you mainly, Luke, is that you need to recharge because I feel like you use so much of the extrovertness you have in your family just because you have so many family members that it's
That
like
makes sense.
especially when you're with them, just because you have
Mhm.
to no matter what. Just like a dinner table is like that's like a small group.
A
at your
dinner
family,
is a
'cause there's,
small
like, 6 of
party.
them.
Whenever Luke's
Yeah.
eating with his
Mhm.
family, it is like a small party. It's like
Yeah.
it's like six. That's 6 people that you're in, or 5 you're interacting with, but 6 total people
Oh,
that
yeah.
are interacting, and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
because for
interesting.
me, like my siblings basically were out of the house by the time I was in 5th grade, so I was just like on my own for a while because my parents would go to work, I would go to school, and like I would just, I'd just be going with the flow, and like I think back on it now, I was like, wow, I was so like by myself a lot, but I think I'm better for
Mhm.
it in a way because it's helped me a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to see because for me, at least yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
No, I was gonna say something slightly unrelated. So you go ahead. You finish your thought. I want you to finish. Your
Okay,
thought.
so yeah, so basically, especially during the summers, that's why I kind of didn't like summers in a way because school work, or at least you have a momentum with school. Like not only are you used to learning, but like
Mhm.
you're having a constant interaction with people, and it's like fun in a way. That's why I always liked school. Or at least I never hated
Mhm.
going to school. Like I hated
Right.
subjects sometimes, but I never hated going to school.
Mhm.
And in regards to that, it's just like when summer would go around, there'd be a huge shift, right? Like for you, because my parents would always be working. I didn't have a car back then. You guys lived relatively far from
Yeah.
me, and so like when summer hits, like if we didn't like talk to each other, like I don't think FaceTime was as popular amongst us as it is now.
Definitely not.
It's like
no.
during summer, like you guys would just not see me for like a month or two, or hear from me for a month or two. I was just by myself for a
Mhm.
month or two because I never interacted with people outside of school really until you guys
Mhm.
came along, obviously.
Yeah.
And then like I guess once I got a car, it kind of shifted things. But yeah, I just remember for months I would probably be just like in my house all day playing video games, and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like
yeah.
Yeah.
it feels so weird. Like I hated that so much, just being by myself. Like COVID would probably
No.
make me
yeah.
super annoyed if my brother wasn't here, or if I didn't have
Mhm.
FaceTime with y'all. I'd be so bored
Mhm.
and just so like,
Yeah.
'cause I get bored
Yeah.
more than anything. I don't get like alone.
Mhm.
I just get bored. But yeah, all right,
Yeah.
Daniel, go ahead to shift things.
Um.
We've been on too long.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind
Oh,
of
I
like what
did-
you were talking about. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
it's related. No, you can tell.
Okay. I was just gonna say.
I was
real
going to change the
quickly that-
topic again. I was going to change the topic again, but like, okay.
Okay. You're.
Or
I'll
I
get to you in a
I was
second.
going to change the topic, comma, again, because there's the same thing that I was going to bring up earlier, but then I forgot
Oh,
about it.
okay,
And then
okay.
you finish
Okay,
what you're
yeah.
saying, and then I'll bring up
I was
my
gonna say
thing.
I remembered something that Naimur reminded me. I wanted to bring this up. How and you kind of like mentioned it with like you have school and then you have summer and it's like this culture shock of suddenly there's no interaction. Nobody or rarely do people talk about or warn you about the culture shock of social interactions moving out of high school. In high school, you see like 20 people every hour for like 8 hours a day
Mhm.
for like
Yeah.
5 days a week. And if you're in like extracurricular activities or even like clubs and stuff like that, you see a lot more people outside of school. Like marching band, you literally see hundreds of people. Like it's ridiculous. And then you leave high school, and this also could be just because of like coronavirus, but even still, like even if coronavirus wasn't around, you would go to class, maybe see people that you don't talk to for an hour, and then leave. It's like it's just, and it's only for 14 hours or 15 or 16 hours a week, and it's like it's just a culture shock. You go from interacting with so many people every day to almost zero friends. And I've heard a teacher talk about that's their one warning to like high school students, seniors. It's like you have to understand your friend group of like 100 people is going to shrink to like maybe 6, and you have to be okay
Yeah,
with
I'm really
that.
glad-
it's like because you're going
really
off to
glad that-
college and stuff like that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm really glad that I have you, Daniel, and our other 2 friends from high school, because
Who live
that's
down the
really
hall, yeah.
been, yeah, that's really been very helpful. And I know Namer has friends
Gee,
at A&M
thanks.
as well.
No, just kidding.
It
Well,
kind of
you have
I'm
your
gonna
own
be
friends
honest.
there.
It really sucks for all the people who are living in a dorm with somebody they don't know and can't go meet with friends and don't have like
Yeah,
we are truly in a really fortunate situation. Like
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We're really fortunate in the
me-
fact that two of our close friends going to the same school as us live down the hall. Like literally
Like-
4 doors
Yeah.
down. And that wasn't even planned. We knew we were going to be in the same building, but not the same hall. More like, yeah. Anyway,
literally less than a minute's walk away. Like that is like
Yeah.
ridiculously lucky. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
My take on it, Daniel, is that COVID's really screwed everything up because, in theory, right, you
In theory, you'd
say
have
goodbye to all these people.
yeah.
You say goodbye to all these people, but then when you come back, you like, you might meet them again, stuff like that. I think we're kind of an outlier because we've stood the test of we were friends at elementary school. Usually, you lose friendships once you get to
they
middle
normally
school.
say, "Oh, you're not going to be friends with your elementary friends in middle school," and then they say, "Oh, you're not going to be friends with your middle school friends in high school," and "Oh, once you go off to college, your high school friends will fade away." And it's like, go ahead, what were you going to say?
I think that's the outlier for us because I feel like we've withstood those tests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
for us, like we're always been a commonality in our lives, and I'm hopeful that we continue to be no matter what. So
especially
I think
especially the three of us. We have another friend that kind of joined our group when we started high school, right?
Mhm. He was a friend
I
of
know
mine.
he was friends
mainly.
with. Yeah, he was friends with
mainly
you
a friend
two
of mine.
separately, but I wasn't friends with him at all until we started high school. So that's just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think for us, I think that was a great thing, and I think we're gonna really appreciate that when we get older, because how difficult that is once we get older. That it just doesn't
It's just-
happen very often.
It makes me
Yeah.
smile so much every time I think about us being like 60 years old, but still like talking to each other,
Yeah,
I
that'd be
don't
fun. Yeah, and
talking about
Yeah,
games still, and like what games we've been playing
Mhm.
recently, and
yeah, we might be going to different colleges, but I think this podcast also helps us in a way too.
I was
Yeah,
about
I
to
can
say
talk
that.
about
I was
my
about to say the
experiences.
reason we're doing this podcast in part is because it brings us together. It makes us talk to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, and
So,
you guys, I
yeah.
don't think there's always like, I think the great thing about our friendship is I feel like in a lot of high school friendships, it's really reliant on just talking to each other constantly. Like I have a separate group of friends in high
yeah.
school that I spent a lot of time in high school with, and since Luke and Daniel were in band, I didn't really see them as much because they're doing their own thing.
We didn't
in
eat
band.
lunch together. We didn't have many classes
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I might have seen him once in the hallway every other day. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So like I never like would talk to them in school, and like we could go months without talking to each other, like weeks to months without
Yeah.
talking to each other. But then as soon as we're back in the same circle, we're talking to each other. It's like nothing happened. Like we're just talking.
Yeah, it
you know?
really
Like,
was.
for sure.
It was such a great feeling whenever we would like, oh, you guys want to go out for like lunch this weekend, and we would get together, and it was like nothing had ever happened. It
I
was
know,
like,
yeah.
okay, 2 seconds ago we were together, and we constantly just jumpstart a conversation already. It was like, yeah. I
That's
don't know.
very valuable, I think, in terms of a friendship. That's a lasting friendship, right? Like these people, like
Yeah.
on the contrary to my friend group in high school, it's like, yeah, I still talk to them, but it's not as strong as like where it is with us, right? Like I feel like we could withstand like having to see each other every day. For you guys, it's a little different. You guys are neighbors, and then you also are roommates
Yeah.
now, and so you guys like see each other all the time. But I mean, for us
Yeah.
three, like when you include me, it's not as big of a deal, which I like. There's no pressure. I think that's a big thing. Whereas like the way I see with girl friendships a lot is like you guys have to hang out all the time or talk all the time, FaceTime all the time.
Sorry, I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to clarify. He didn't say girlfriend
see, that's-
ships. He said girl friendships.
Yeah.
See, my girlfriend says that she has had like 3 friend groups in high school, and I've literally had three big friend groups, and I've had 3 close friends, and a group
A ton
around
of
that
minor
that
friends
shifts.
along- Yeah.
Yeah. But then I also never really break off friendships with. I don't think I've ever broken off a friendship with anybody, or I have, but it's been very rare.
Yeah,
As opposed to, like-
you never like try to be like, oh, well, we're not friends anymore. Boom, wall.
Yeah.
It's like you still know those people.
Yeah, but especially in middle school and stuff, we combine with bigger groups, right? Like us three would be a part of a bigger group with people. We'd always hang out outside school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then like something happened on both occasions where it just like kind of there was a divide, a tour, right? And yet we
Yeah.
stood together more, and like
Yeah.
it doesn't really like it never really changed us.
I
think it's
also
also
want to
very
point
rare.
out how often groups and friendships in high school and middle school split up over the pettiest things. Like I think the reason our relationship, like our friendship, has stood the test of time and all of this is because we will get mad at each other for the most peskiest reasons, but we don't let it like affect our relationship because we still understand that like we care about each other and we want to stay friends, and like we understand that like we may have differences, but like we can overcome those. I don't know. It's
It
like,
ends in
I just get
apologies
so
usually.
frustrated when people.
I think
It
that's the
always
benefit.
it almost always ends in apologies. I think. Yeah.
Because it's like I personally don't like it when that happens. I don't think anybody does, but it's like
Yeah.
going to bed, like knowing that like that's the case currently and stuff like that. It's like it doesn't make me feel good, so I always want to end it back on a good note. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
it's a nice thing. It makes your life easier when you have a friend group that's solid that you don't have to really worry about. So I'm very appreciative of that, especially once we get older and outside of college, most likely. Like that, I think that'll be good. It's sad that relationships don't work out like that. Am I right, fellas? Am I right, fellas? Am I right, fellas?
I heard. Hey, here's an interesting thing. I heard there's 3 types of love in your life. There's and I don't actually believe this to a certain degree, but it's like puppy love, which is your like first time falling in love, or kind of your first times. I don't know if it's supposed to be like you only fall in love 3 times, or it's like, anyways, your first time is like supposedly puppy love, and I saw this on a TikTok, where it's like kind of just this like you don't know what you're doing, but it's like this infatuation, and you think it's love, but you're actually not sure, and blah 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 blah, and then things kind of just like fall apart. And then your second one is like it's like a more long-term, like passionate, like, okay, you know what you're doing now, and so
It's
you
very
actually want to
toxic.
try and build a relationship.
I thought that was a toxic love, right? Is that not the toxic love?
Oh, is it the toxic?
Where
I
it's-
think you might be right.
That would
It's like
be
this
the
toxic love where
probably.
it's like, yeah, you kind of know what you're doing, but you don't realize that the relationship is just not gonna go anywhere, and so it just kind of like slowly becomes more and more toxic in that. And then your third one is kind of this like, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like obscure. It's like it's unexpected. It's like
You just look at them and you, like, love
yeah,
them,
you're
you
like,
know what I mean?
I would never have thought that this relationship would have happened, but now that we're in it, let's see where it goes, and it just ends up like becoming this like fully fledged, like, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if that's like true. There's probably like some truth to it, and then there are people who marry their high school sweethearts, so it's like you never know.
The thing
Yeah.
I wonder
I
is
wanted.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
It's just I saw another TikTok that a dude was like reading, and he said that apparently men can never love or give the same love out like twice. Like for every relationship they have, they love differently, or especially when they're in love, I guess. So
That
it's
makes
like
sense.
so like let's say, like for an ex-girlfriend versus your current girlfriend, if you have one, it's like you never have. It's not the same love. It's a different type of love you're giving them. So you can never give that same love out. So it's like you love someone in a completely different way. It's very
Yeah, you
interesting.
find new things to appreciate, new ways to express your love. I feel like that might actually be true. I don't know. You kind of learn things, and you're like, and also it depends on the person that you are falling in love with. It's like the same things you did to show appreciation in a past relationship won't always work in a new relationship.
Well, I really hate the whole idea. It's like, how do you know you're in love? It's like, It's like, no. I don't think
Yeah, you
that's-
just know.
No.
I think you just know. I think you
don't
just
that's
know.
the case.
You know.
I think there are some cases where
so.
people like they say that because they genuinely love the person, but then there are also other cases like, no, Becky, you and your boyfriend have broken up 15 different times. This 16th time is not like, oh, you just know. Like, no, that's not how that works.
Well,
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I hate the gatekeeping that goes on where it's like, you think you love your boyfriend at the age of 15? Wait till you're like in college. That's when real love starts. Or wait till you're out of college. That's when it's like, stop gatekeeping this. People, it's just a word that people use. It's like it has to have meaning,
This
or
is gatekeeping,
otherwise
gatekeeping
it's
the
like,
relationship community.
I'm like, what is this going on? They're gonna call it love, and they're gonna enjoy it for a little bit, and then they're gonna realize that it's not that, and it's like, stop.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. Let people be people. It's just.
Well, I think it's the idea of soulmates, right? Like everybody believes in soulmates because movies have taught them to, and I don't think that's true. I don't think soulmates is a
I
real
don't
thing
either, yeah.
because it
I
doesn't
think
make
there
sense.
might be,
It
like-
physically does not make sense.
I think there are multiple people that you can fit with that you fit really well with. Like there are people out there that will
Yeah.
just work well with you.
Yeah.
But there's not
it's a
one.
companionship. It's
There's
a vibe,
many
you
of
know what I
them,
mean?
and you have to find them. They're not going to find you. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's not like a happenstance. Like, oh my god, they were always meant for me. Like like a higher being has specifically picked me and this person to be together. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how that works at all. It's just like how you do. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you get married in the same, you're like from the same state. Like, what are the odds of that, man? It's like,
Yeah.
are you sure? Like, if
Yeah.
soulmates really are a thing, that's not how that works.
What are the odds that
Obviously,
you
I don't think
speak
that's
the
the thing.
same language? Like, I'm so
Exactly,
confused.
yeah.
If you really think your soulmate is 1 in 7.3 billion or whatever it is right now, it's like, you're never going to find that person. I guarantee you only see like 0.1%, maybe even less, probably like 0.01% of the world's population in your entire lifetime.
Well, that's the thing
Yeah.
too. It's like I remember I read Shoe Dog by the founder of Nike, Phil Knight, and he basically talked about when he got out of college that he wanted to do a trip around the world, right? And he was gonna do it with a
Mhm.
friend, and so they basically
Mhm.
started off in Hawaii, right? And they loved Hawaii so much they're like, let's just find a job, let's stay here for a couple months to a year or whatever, okay? And so they
Mhm.
find a job, they like can afford an apartment with that job. You know, they're just chilling, having fun, and like you know, I think a couple months to a year go by, and then Phil Knight's like, yo, like let's carry on with the trip, let's go to Japan or whatever. And then the dude's like, I mean, I'm in love with this girl, like I'm just stay here, right? Because like they were just in Hawaii. It's like it's a happenstance, and
Yeah.
so I assume they spend like a lot of their time, if not get married there. And Phil Knight went to go to Japan, and then that's how he'd finally start Nike and stuff like that. And it's just interesting to me. It's like if you go abroad, you meet this random like girl of the area, and then you just fall in love and just like. And then my brother, like from his friends too, he's like, he's had friends that have like worked abroad, and they met a girl there, and now they're married.
And they
And
wanted
they
to
can-
stay.
Not
I've
only
heard-
stay, but one of them comes back. One of them I know for sure
Oh, I see
has
what you
come
mean,
back, and like they're like, it's like you know, it's like that's a happenstance thing. It's like, but it's like it's like
Yeah.
it makes sense that would happen if you don't believe in soulmates, like because you just vibe
Yeah.
with someone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say I've heard horror stories of that where it's like you go, you find the love of your life in this foreign country, you spend years learning the language, you know, you don't fit into this culture, but you know, like you love this person, whatever. You guys buy a house together, whatever, in the area, live there. 8 years go by, your relationship falls apart. Now you're paying for a house in a place where you no longer have any reason to be. Your family's back in another country or whatever. You know, like the job opportunities that align are probably better for you to move. It's like just horror stories of things like just going wrong, and then like, but I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Like, follow your dreams, do whatever you want. I'm just saying I'm always hesitant. Like those stories always give me like bad vibes because I'm like, I don't
Or
want
it's
something
like-
bad to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or it's like I transferred to the university because of a girl. It's like, oh, yikes.
Oh, that
And
stuff.
then they break up. That's that's always cringy as hell.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
so
I
worried
met this
about
girl.
that.
She goes to this university. I transferred the next semester, and then we broke up. So you're at this university
Yeah.
for no reason. It's like, yikes. Like, it's very complicated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think you have to gel. I think a lot of it comes with, like, finding a friend. Like, have you guys seen When Harry Met Sally?
No.
No.
It's a really good movie. Basically, it's just, like, the whole premise is, can guys and girls just be platonic friends? Right? Like, that's, like, the
Platonic.
beginning.
I've heard the
Platonic,
premise. I've
platonic.
heard this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the whole idea is like this girl and this guy, you know, they're all, you know, initially, you know, one of them is in a relationship like they're both in college. One of them's in a relationship, and they have to drive across the country because they're both moving to New York from that college, right? And they have this conversation about friends, and then she's like, like I don't even like you or whatever, yada yada, right? And then like 5 years go by, one of them is getting married, the other one's dating someone, and then they come across each other at the airport. And they're like, oh my God, like it's you. And he's like, oh, nice to meet you again, or whatever. And they're talking. She's like, oh, you're getting married? Huh? Really? And then like 3 years go by, and then one of them is divorced and the other one breaks up with her boyfriend. And then, you know, they meet each other again, but this time they become friends. And they become like really good friends. Like they start talking about like each other's love lives with other people, like their dating scene, stuff like that. You know, it's like a best friendship, but it's just opposite genders. And then, you know, at the end, it obviously ends with them, spoilers, falling in love and getting married.
Okay.
But it's a
So
very
that
interesting
answers the
premise.
question. Platonic relationships do not exist. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, because I watched what's that thing called? Lessons on a Screenplay. Is that channel on the film?
Yeah.
Lessons from
I
the
think so.
screenplay or
Lessons from the Screenplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think a good way to look at it is not that men and women can't be platonic friends. It's that you can't have a meaningful relationship without being friends first. Like a meaningful romantic relationship without being friends
Oh yeah.
first.
No, I agree
That's
with
a,
that.
that's a
yeah.
really nice. That's a really sweet message. That's a much better message than I thought it was saying.
That's
I
right.
like that.
Well, I think that's a surface. Like a lot of people look at it as a surface level way,
hmm
which I think is very interesting.
A lot of people do that for every type of movie. Like, unless you really dive into it, a lot of movies you're like, the message is love, or oh, I hate this movie because it was boring and there was no reason for any of the conflict. And it's like, if you look at it, they're like trying to tell a thematic idea. You just haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet.
It's a
But
very interesting
I'm
movie.
not
I
trying
think
to
it's
be
my
pretentious about movies.
it's my favorite rom com. I think y'all should watch it. It's on HBO Max. If and anybody listening should
Favorite
watch it. It's a really good movie.
rom-com. I wonder if I have a good rom-com that I've watched.
There's
can't really
there's
think
some
of
good
any.
ones.
End
500
of the
Days of Summer
fucking
is a pretty
world.
good one. Oh, End of the
I'm
effing
joking.
world.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't have to. You don't have to.
well they
bleep yourself.
they star
Oh,
it.
I see what
Daniel,
you're saying.
The
Yeah,
title,
they
so I'm
star.
just saying
End of
effing.
the F asterisk asterisk King World. Or I guess yeah.
It's a very
whatever it is.
peculiar show because I remember I recommended it to people because I thought the pilot episode was so funny and interesting
Mhm.
that like because I like British humor too. Like I just grew up
And
on
then
that. My brother
2
helped
episodes
show me
in,
that.
the like really bad thing happens.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
I was recommending it. I'm like, this show is so funny, and then people start watching it. They're
Mhm.
like, dude, like I just hate these two people so much. Like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny.
I thought that was
Stuff
kind of
like
the
that.
point of it. How these
I
people
thought
are
it was a really
kind of
good
like
show, yeah.
strangely unlikable, but also likable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a
It's
weird.
an
I
interesting thing.
I didn't watch all of season 2 at once, which is very weird for me. Normally, if I stop,
I didn't watch
watching
season
this
2 at
show,
all. I
it's
watched
very
season 1.
rare
and
that I
was
go
it.
back. I watched the beginning of season 2, and I stopped at like not like a third in, and then I like was like Luke was like, "Oh, have you finished it yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't finished it yet." And he's like, "Oh, you should. Well, let me know when you finish it." And I was like, I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be good, and I finished it because I wanted to know like what is gonna happen. Like I just, and it does finish.
I
well.
watched
I don't know.
I watched all of season 1 in a single night. That was crazy. That was the only time. No, one of the only times I've ever done that. I just
Yeah.
felt exhausted.
For me, I watched a lot. I watched season 1 pretty like sporadically. I watched like 1 episode a day,
Mhm.
like in a row.
Mhm.
And then I got to this the final episode, and I waited like a month or something for some reason. I just didn't watch it. I don't know why. I don't think I liked how the story was going, with everything. It just felt weird. And then I watched the final episode, and then I was like, okay, that's cool. Maybe like they don't even need to make a season 2. Like I'm perfectly fine with it just ending like this.
Yeah, I thought they were done with the show. I thought it was like a one-off where it's like one season.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I thought that was. I haven't seen season 2 yet. I have no plan to anytime soon, but maybe
It was
at
good.
some point.
It was good.
Same
Naimur,
thing
I
with
wanted
Queen's
to ask
Gambit.
you.
You should finish Queen's Gambit. You should
You
finish
should watch the
Queen's
Queen's Gambit first.
I will
of all.
finish it.
Like
at some
genuinely,
point.
the
I will
last
finish it.
episode is really good. It's really worth it.
Listen, I got 3 days until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. I'll probably spend. I have nothing to do. My semester is over. Like I have nothing to do for the next like 3 days.
Finish
So,
Queen's
besides
Gambit.
exercise, most likely. So I'll try and finish Queen's Gambit. It's just because I watch it with my brother, and the dude works so much and sleeps at weird hours of the night that it's like I can't.
Well, is he working on Bangladesh time?
Basically, yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yikes.
Is that why? Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. But he also just has a really poor sleep schedule in
How
general.
far
He
ahead
just
is
sleeps
how
whenever.
far ahead is
That's
that?
fair.
12,
It's like
13
12
hours?
I think.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Oh my god, man, that would
Naimur,
really
I
throw
wanted to
off.
ask you.
Yeah.
This is going way back to our conversation at the very beginning, but have you ever seen Daniel mad, or even sad,
I've seen him
like outwardly?
I've seen him annoyed before, and he's just like, stop. And this
Annoyed,
used to happen
yeah.
a lot more. This used to happen a lot more when we were younger, because I used to always be like the really like homoerotic. I used to act really homoerotic around him. I'd be like, Daniel, and I'd start like touching him and stuff. He'd be like, stop it. Like, he'd be stop. And now he partakes in it like willingly now. Like he just is like he'll be the one to start.
Naimur,
doing
you're
it.
making this sound horrible for you. Like I touch Daniel a lot, and now he's like giving in on it, and like
No, like he
it
would,
sounds so
he would-
horrible the way you
Okay,
worded
no,
it.
not like that. Not like
yeah,
that.
I know what you meant.
I would put my hand on his shoulder. He'd be like, "Stop it!" Like he'd jerk, and then phrasing. He would like, move his shoulder, and then like he'd be like, "Stop!" I was like, "Come on, Daniel, be chill about it." And he'd be like super mad. Luke and I would always give in. I think me and Luke took
Oh,
it
yeah,
too far at
for sure.
times because we had a class together
I
where we
think we
sat
did.
right next to each other.
Dude, the teachers
me and Luke-
thought you guys had a homosexual relationship. I don't know why I said that. Why didn't I just say a gay relationship? I wanted to make
A
it funnier by using
homosexual
longer
relationship.
words.
Homosexual.
The teachers thought you had a homosexual relationship.
No, it was really weird because I feel like in freshman year we had a class together, and like me and him would just constantly touch each other, like grab each other's thigh and stuff, and like I feel like we did it way too much.
I remember hearing about this. It's just so funny.
I think we definitely did.
We would do it like once every 5 minutes or like 2 minutes. Like, we would not like. I was like, Luke,
But
even
it's
for
so
me, this
funny
feels like a
because
little
it'll be
sexy.
like unexpected, and it's just so funny to see it happen. Or like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure my teacher saw it and just chose to ignore it. They'd be like, no.
Yeah, like what do you even say to that, man? I think that makes
Our
it so
teacher,
funny
yeah.
too, because it's like cringy for the teacher to even like try and do anything. It's like, hey, can we keep our hands to ourselves to a class of like seventh graders? Like what? Like
No, this is ninth grade.
Was it sixth?
This was in freshman year.
Oh,
This was
ninth grade?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, I have a funny
I
story
just remember
about,
you
like,
guys being in.
teachers.
I think you guys were in the same math class in sixth grade.
We were
that too,
yeah.
but he hated.
That was
me back
before we
then.
were even
That's
friends.
that's a long story. We were friends.
No, we were friends at that point, but we weren't
You-
like.
You were mad at me for half of the year. But that's
Yeah.
that's a story for a different.
Yeah.
That's a story for,
I think
for
so.
another day.
But
I was
well, we
gonna
did.
say
I think
something.
another
Something
thing
I was
going back to
gonna
our
say.
friendships, we have hit like some, what's the word,
Oh, we've hit
valleys
lows,
in
for
our
sure.
friend. Yeah, we've hit
Yeah.
lows in our friendships too, and we gotten past them. So I feel like
Mhm.
since then that's made it stronger. You know, like
Yeah.
especially I'm sure we'll get more in depth with it in like
Other
many podcasts from now. But
Mhm.
like me and Luke were not like on good terms in 6th grade for a while. Like me and Daniel were.
It's like the whole year.
And I
But
was
Luke-
stuck in the middle. Of
Yeah, and
lovers
so since
friends.
Daniel was closer to Luke, because they
That's a
lived,
song for people. Who,
yeah.
anyways.
But since Daniel was closer to Luke, both
Mhm.
through friendship and like family friends, like they saw each other every day.
and
They
and
basically had to
physically
choose Luke.
located next door to him, which is physically closer to.
Yeah, and their
Yeah.
parents are super close friends and stuff. Like he basically had to
Mhm.
choose between me and him, so he chose Luke, naturally. So there was like a couple months where we just like weren't friends for a while. And then
it was
like even then
awkward.
like
it was really awkward.
took a
I hated
while.
it. But look,
I don't
our
even
friendship
know
came
what
out for the
happened. What
better.
changed? I don't even know
Yeah,
what
I mean,
changed.
I don't know.
Like to fix it. To fix it. I mean.
I think we just
Naimur
like
got
started
angry at me.
tolerating it. No, we had a 7th grade math class together, and then we started tolerating each other a lot more. Or you started
Me and you,
tolerating
or you
me
and
more.
No,
oh, we
here's the
did.
issue.
That's right.
Here's
oh,
the
yeah,
issue. I
it
think
was
the
that math
issue
class
was-
that changed things for sure.
We can talk about this very
Yeah.
quickly, very briefly. The issue was both of you, or not both of you necessarily, but
It was just
the
Luke. Luke had a
connection.
problem.
The
It was just
connection
me.
was
It was
mostly
just-
Luke with
I had the marble.
Luke with me and me with you. There was not as strong a relationship between each of you, like between Luke and Naimur. So
Well, I
the
think
issue
Luke was
was
feeling
if
like
I spent
his friendship between you.
if I spent too much time with either of you, I felt like I was like being judged for it. Like I was constantly on like a balance beam where it's like, okay, I have to make
and
sure
you
everything's the
fucking
same.
were.
And I was
Well, I
on
didn't
a
care.
balance beam.
Luke was mainly just jealous, and he was afraid that you
But
were
then
losing. He was losing you from
admit
me.
that you felt
Yeah.
bad like when I stopped spending time with you, right? So it's like I didn't want to make you feel bad. So like I had to kind of like so anyways, the reason it was solved was you two started hanging out together more than you hung out with me. Like you guys just cut
No,
me out
not
of the equation. You're like,
necessarily.
we'll just hang out
No,
with him.
we just started talking more because we were in
No.
that math class and we
I
sat
know.
next to each other in
I'm
the
joking.
math class. Yeah.
I'm joking. For the audience, I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
Or-
like
Or did we just happen to be assigned to sit next to each other? Do you remember?
We were assigned to sit next to each other, and then at the end of the year, we had a project to do together, and so we were just like normal again by then.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we just like sort of just like were normal because I think
Mhm.
again summer like that summer before that like in 6th grade, like I didn't talk to you guys for 3 months, so Luke and Daniel like were loving each other
Mhm.
every day, and I was not seeing any of them. So that was like a solution for
Physically.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a solution too because I guess they had some break away from me. And then like Luke wasn't like as because Luke used to be like he like literally was like I can't even be in a room with you, Naimur. Like you like I don't want to even be in a room with you. I remember vividly in 6th grade like Luke sat in front of me. I'd be like Luke, hello, and he'd be like don't talk to me. I hate you. I was like damn, bro.
well,
then-
okay, I would like to point out we were all like this is during like not necessarily peak emotional time, but like we're all like growing up.
The
Peak
beginning of
hormonal
puberty.
time
Emotional and
almost.
stuff.
The very beginning
Sure.
of puberty. It was a bad time.
And so,
in almost every
the thing
aspect.
was, yeah, it was a really bad time. I hate that time so much. There's so many things I hate.
Again,
I do want
another
to get
reason
back
why we're stronger
to,
now, so that's good. So
I do want to get back to like seeing me mad or sad. I have a something to bring up
Yes,
about that.
I
But
did.
what
So, Daniel, I wanted to ask you because I don't think I've ever seen you mad. I might have seen you sad once for an hour, and I don't think I've ever
which
seen
one were you
gonna
gonna say?
Because
Because there's a few times
I've
I
seen
think
the
you might have
opposite.
seen me.
I've only seen him mad before. I've never seen him sad.
I've seen
Wait,
him.
what
I've
were
seen
the
you
time that-
irritated, Daniel.
I've
maybe
been
when-
irritated
when-
before, but I've.
Maybe when you told me that your significant other broke up with you, but then you weren't even sad for that.
Yeah,
You
you
were,
were like
like, chill.
happy. You were,
I
you were
was not.
celebrating.
It was. I'm sorry. It was a really mixed emotion because I was kind of like being an asshole and like encouraging the person to break up with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like in hindsight, I was like self-sabotaging my relationship, I guess, because I wasn't happy.
Mhm.
I think that's what I was doing.
Just
But no,
didn't
I know what
listen
you're
to our
talking about.
advice. That was a big
I
problem.
was
Yeah.
definitely, I was weirdly like sad, like I felt like I should be crying, but then I didn't cry because I'm like, it's
Yeah.
the middle of the school day. This will be awkward, and also like I
Oh, dude, it was
wasn't
so
hurt at the
funny
same
that
time. It was
day.
like if I wanted to cry, it would have been from relief. It was like this. It was just these mixed emotions, and I was like, I'm just not gonna feel anything.
Yeah, I feel like that
fine.
was how I felt. I feel like that was how I felt when my significant other broke up with me 2 days before that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
What happened after, Luke?
No.
It happened after. I remember specifically
No.
the day that Daniel's girlfriend broke up with him.
No, I told you after. I told you after.
He told us
really?
after, but it happened.
Yeah, I didn't tell-
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
he
That's
kept.
probably
Yeah,
what
I didn't
was.
tell you or my parents. I didn't tell you for a month after almost, but I didn't tell my parents
Well, because
until like a
again,
week
it was one of
after.
those things. He wasn't trying to hide it from
Yeah.
Naimur. It's one of those things where we just didn't talk all that
No,
much.
but you just texted
occasionally,
me out
but
of
we're
the
still,
blue, like,
great
guess
friends.
who's single? Guess who's single now? I assumed
Yeah.
you. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
So I assumed that's when you happened.
So that's
But
the
with
time
Daniel-
you thought you might
No,
might
that
have seen me
wasn't when it
sad.
happened. I
No,
think
but you
that
weren't,
was
though.
when
though.
it
It was
was.
so weird. No,
Okay.
for Dana, it was
Yeah.
so weird because that morning, like, you know,
Mhm.
you and your girlfriend were still like buddy. Like, you guys seemed like you were chill. I was like, yo,
Mhm.
Daniel, like, you know, we have work tonight. Like, it's a Friday night or something. So we got work tonight. Like, can't wait to see you.
Oh,
It's like, make
I
sure you show up to my
remember
thing.
this.
Yeah, no, it was a Friday because my girlfriend broke up with me that Monday.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
So, it
me and
started-
Daniel
yeah.
go to work. Like, he shows up after me because I think his time's
Mhm.
after me, and he's like, "Yeah, me and so broke up." I was like, "Oh, for real? You guys seem normal this morning." It's like, "No, yeah, she like broke up with me not too long after you left." It's like, "Dang, that is tough."
Yeah.
Or no, I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And like I was just making a joke 'cause he was genuinely fine. So I was like, yeah, sure, Daniel, fine." And then like Daniel would like keep bringing it up. He'd be like, "Yeah, we're just like together. We couldn't gel." And then like I
Well,
guess
I've-
their song, quote unquote, was playing. He's like, "Yeah, you know, so and so liked this song a lot." And I was like, "Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
You really,
but
you
here's
really
the
don't
funny
care
thing.
about this
I
breakup?"
just wanted to. I know it seemed like I was caring about it a lot. I just didn't feel like I had anyone to talk it out with because I like I said, I had mixed emotions about it, and so
Mhm.
I just wanted to explain it to someone. So that entire night, I was just kind of like not venting or like trying to like express sadness. I was just kind of trying to like talk it out. Like, yeah, this is the reason we fell apart, and like, oh yeah, I because it was on my mind, I was like, oh yeah, this was her favorite song and stuff like that. So it's like, you know,
Well, I was
I
just
don't
like,
know.
"Are you
Yeah.
okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, do you care?"
because like genuinely
You're like,
was. I don't
"Nah."
think I was actually sad
And then
at work.
I
was just
didn't
like, meh.
care. So when he said, "I don't care," like he was like, "Nah, I don't really care." I knew it was gonna happen. I was like, "Okay, I don't care either." So let's not talk about it because it's not that.
Let's
deep.
not talk about it. And then I kept bringing it up. No, I'm just.
Well, it's because me and
Um,
Luke were both telling him to break up with her for months because he just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to.
No, we were.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not that he didn't necessarily like her. It's just he didn't want a relationship anymore.
Yeah.
From what it seemed like. So
Yeah.
it's like I was like, just break up with her, bro. Like it's fine.
Mhm.
Like, I think she would understand. You know. And then he was like, but no, I said it in an ambiguous
but-
way. That'd be
okay,
alluding
but-
to breaking up. Like maybe you should just like venture out on your own for a little while.
Mhm.
And like, you know, just listen to your gut. And so Daniel would come back
Yeah.
to me a week later. He'd be like, you know, I'm really glad you
You're
gave me the advice
right.
to listen to my gut because I really did, and everything's good now. So thank you so much for your advice. I was like,
Exactly.
"Bro,
It was
you
so
didn't listen
funny.
to anything I
Month
said."
after month, he would be like, listen to your heart and do the right thing. And then I'd be like, you know what? You're right, Namer. I'm staying with her. And it's like, that's not what I meant. You've told me multiple times you're just unhappy. Like, what is going on?
See, that's what. See, when
Mhm.
me and our other friend told you to break up with your previous girlfriend before that, it worked really well because we straight up just told you to break up with her.
Yeah, but Daniel does
Yeah.
a lot of mental gymnastics to vilify a
That's
dis-
Well,
or like
okay, can I
vindicate
tell
himself.
you why? Can I tell you why I was doing mental gymnastics to like make this relationship work? And like
She
the
was
issue
hot.
was
It's not even just making it work. It's just you
sure
do it
no,
in
but I
general.
think it was
everything.
like this lifeline of like
Ugh.
this might be the only thing that makes me happy right now. I think I was just at a very unhappy place.
Daniel,
in
you
life.
said
I don't know why. I
I'm-
just
Okay,
Mhm.
Daniel, in the relationship before that, you sent a text message to us about the reasons why you were going to break up with the person, and it is the longest text message I've ever seen in my entire life. To this day, I don't think I've ever seen a text
Oh my
message this
God.
long because it was
I used
so
to
long.
send,
that
hey,
you
I
had to
just want to
click
give
on the.
context. I used to send
That's
really long
hilarious.
text messages that were rants
they were
about my
huge.
feelings.
No,
And
you
blah, blah,
send
blah,
long text
and they were
messages,
huge.
but I've never seen a text
But this
message
one
this
was-
long in my life. To this day, it's been
It
4
was.
years.
I think it
3
might have
years
been
since
one
this
of those
happened.
ones where you had to click on the 3 dots and it would expand into another window.
No, it
No, that
expanded into
definitely
a
was.
expanded into
Oh,
a
wow.
text
That's
file.
huge.
Like you had to click on
it
it to
expanded
expand
into
to
a text file.
It was
Dude,
at
it was-
least like
Oh my God.
1,500 words. Like I'm not even.
It was a
fucking
long-
I
exaggerating.
think
it
it
was
was
a
a lot
long
of
thing, dude.
pent up emotion that I just needed to express.
No, it was.
Yeah, but dude, that was like, man, Daniel's oddly probably the biggest ladies' man out of all of us. and he tries the least to get girls.
It's ironic
Like,
because
he
he's
gets-
our
What do you
group
mean
short
by
king.
that?
Huh? Like he manages to get girls to like him by literally not doing anything. Like he's just like acts normal, and then they like him. Like I remember Luke had this crush on a girl in like middle school, and like Luke
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like liked her a
Mhm.
lot, and like he was like trying, or at least somewhat. I don't know how
Mhm.
what the definition of
Nah.
trying for Luke was.
Wasn't really trying.
But Daniel literally was not doing anything. He was just like maybe talk to her and be nice and stuff. And then she was like, "Yeah, I like kind of liked you." Like after the fact, I was like, and Daniel's like, "Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Whatever." And then like
I hate that situation. That makes me so uncomfortable when you have to be put in that situation.
I remember we were at Hawaiian Falls for band, and we were playing the Truth Circle game. Do y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
oh,
It
middle
was a
school
game where you
antics.
whisper a question
ex-
into the person next to you, and then
Yeah.
you would say the name of someone in a group, and then play rock paper scissors.
Sorry,
and whoever won. And if the person
would
who
say
answered it won,
They're-
then
Yeah.
they didn't have to say anything. But if the person who asked the question won, then the person who answered would have to say the question.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the
So-
question always had to be the answer was a name in the person of the group. So it would be something
Yeah.
like, "Oh, who is the most annoying person here?" And then you would say their
if
name
everybody,
out loud.
if
for
everybody in the
everyone.
group turned into a redwood tree, who would you put in your?
God, such a stupid question. That became a running joke for a long time because Luke would ask that question every single time, and it was not. It didn't get any funnier. It didn't. People would just be like, "This is
Yeah.
uncomfortable. We're stopping the game now." No, I'm just kidding.
That's the
I don't
consensus
even, I
when
don't even
people hung
remember
out
where I
with
was
Luke.
going with that.
They'd be like,
we
"I'm
were just
I don't
talking
remember
about-
where I
comfortable
was
with
going
stop."
with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's middle school antics. But Daniel he's a pole god. I will be the first to say.
I think
Yeah. No.
I think the reason I'm a whatever you're calling me, a pole god or whatever, a short
Pole
king.
god.
I am short. But
Short
what I was
king,
gonna
as if
say
that's
is-
like a
Dude,
thing
though.
that we made up.
no,
Yeah, but
I
he's
know.
he's a good looking dude though. Like he's
What?
5'4", but that's
No
all
one's
good looks.
denying
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
No one's denying.
He's a
it.
good looking
Here's
dude,
what,
Daniel.
Joey will. Dude, Joey once. I don't know why this was so insulting to me, but Joey once gave me a 5 out of 10 rating, and ever since I've never stopped thinking about like
'cause
that
he's
day where
jealous.
it's like, did he? I mean, I can understand why. I can understand why, but now
Because
I
Joey
just,
is probably the best looking person out of the four of us,
yeah.
and you're
Well,
the
I think
second
that's
best.
why
I would say.
I don't know. It just kind of stung coming from him. I think what I was gonna say is the reason I'm a pole god is because most people think I'm gay, so therefore I'm unattainable, and therefore it's. No, I'm just joking. I'm just. Oh my god.
No, I
No, yeah, but no, I
especially
don't
in middle
think-
school with those round glasses. Yeah.
Right,
Nah.
my sports goggles.
Daniel's gonna. I could tell Daniel's gonna be in like whenever he becomes a teacher, like the girls are gonna have a crush on him, and like you'll be very
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
but I'm.
by it.
I don't understand. I feel like I'm too short to be like. And I
Okay,
feel like
it
my
depends. Daniel,
my
listen.
voice.
I
I feel
see-
like my voice deters people. It's like there's something about my voice that just bothers me.
Daniel,
I hear
listen.
myself
I think
and
you're
it's like
I foresee
projecting.
two.
I think you
I
think
foresee
that.
two futures for you. Okay, either one, you get jacked as fuck, or two, you just let go. If you get jacked as fuck, I see you being.
Luke's
I
giving me
see
a
you being
50-50
the-
chance of turning into either the happiest person ever, where I feel really good about myself, or the most depressed, lazy piece of shit that just gives up on life.
This
Great.
could go
I love
two
my
ways.
odds
This
here.
could-
I love my odds.
This could
here.
go two ways.
Great.
This could go two ways. Number one, you go to the gym every day, you get yoked. Number two, you shove every
Yoked.
meatball down in your mouth, and you get so fat.
You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
it could go one
Luke
of two
once made a
ways.
joke about me that made me laugh so hard. It was just the one where it's like, it was something like, "Do you guys want to eat dessert?" And Luke said, "Oh, I don't want to eat dessert. I don't want to get fat and bloated like Daniel all the time." And it was just so uncalled for. Like, I don't have many. Like, this is back to the self-confidence thing. I don't have many
I don't
things
think you're
that
ever
make
gonna
me
be fat,
like
Daniel.
self-conscious.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
either.
no.
Because you're such a
It's just-
picky eater that you don't eat that often. Like I don't think you.
But the food I,
I think I
eat
can
is
count
not
the amount
good.
of times.
The food I eat is not good. I want to point that out. I'm a picky eater, but the food that I eat is not healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but I think the amount of times the amount of times you've eaten my mother's cooking, I can count on like a single hand. I'm pretty sure because you just like
You
I think
probably
you can
count
count
on
on
one finger.
you can count it on a single finger. Oh my
a
god!
single finger.
Guys,
Yeah,
It's I
he's
just
just like,
can't
yeah,
handle-
not
okay,
for
I
me,
can't-
man.
Hey, remember
can't
when
handle
Daniel
spicy
faked being
food, I
sick because he
can't-
didn't want to eat exotic food? That was
That
Oh,
did
yeah.
not happen. That did not happen.
That
I had
did
a
happen.
headache.
That did happen.
I had
Why
a
did you have
I
headache.
the
want to
headache,
eat
Daniel?
spicy food.
Why did I have the headache? Because I didn't want to eat spicy food. That's why.
It's
Oh my
like
God.
it's like states' rights to do what?
It's for yeah, it is like that. In the for the audience, I just want to say it's become a running joke now that anytime I can't go to a party that Namer's
At
going,
Namer's
like
house specifically.
yeah, at Namer's house, or if it's like a party that his family's going to or something like that, they always say, "Oh, is it because you can't eat like spicy food? Oh, is it because you don't want to eat their food?" It's like it's just a running joke now.
It's 'cause
And
Daniel
then
never eats at my
I
house. He'll
always
eat the
have this
pizza, but he
excuse
won't
when I
eat,
go
like-
where it's like, "Oh, I already ate. I'm not hungry." It's like
Yeah, and
I
I
just
remember I
I
told your
feel
dad
so
that.
bad, but it's like I literally like yeah.
I told your dad that. He was like, "Yeah, this kid eats nothing all day. He just eats cheese. That's it."
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Dude, I'm getting better at branching out. Like I'm eating like vegetables and stuff, and like I hope one day if we become famous enough, we'll have a YouTube series. Like we'll have
We try
a
food.
huge YouTube channel, and we have a YouTube series where you guys go around and make me try new food every single week. And
No,
if
what
we
I think you
become-
need to do. I think what needs to happen.
I think
is you
one
need to
day.
get COVID.
I think one day you just need to, get COVID and eat everything when he can't taste.
Yeah, you lose your sense of taste and smell, and then we just
Eat
give
everything?
you all exotic foods that are super spicy and stuff like that, and you're just like,
I think-
yum.
Daniel, I think what you need to do is just like eat the same thing Namer and I eat when we go out once.
Sure.
Once or
Well,
twice.
Here's my issue.
No, but we eat out.
Namer
like,
or
me
I.
and Luke
Namer
eat
or
more.
I.
Yeah. I just want to
What?
say the reason I have issues with food is because I'm very sensitive to the texture for the most part, where it's like if something feels squishy when it shouldn't, or if something feels like tough when it shouldn't, or if there's a crunchy piece
got
and
a
something
baby
that's
over
typically
here.
soft, it's like it's just I often okay, this might need to get cut, so let's pause for a second. I often wonder if and I'm not trying to self-diagnose myself. I often wonder if
I
I'm
am.
like 1% on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
1%.
I mean, no.
There's some
Really
things
not.
that I
Because of the
do
food?
that are like
You
I
just-
think
you might have part of OCD, maybe, potentially.
that might be it. I don't know. I think there's something. Because, like, especially with, like,
I
the
think
touching
you're
thing, where it's, like,
part-
touching is very weird for me. It's, like, touching and sensitivity to, like, sounds, any
I don't think
type
it's as
of,
bad
like...
anymore. When you were a kid, it's
No,
like,
not
you just
anymore.
didn't
I've
like
grown,
that.
but, like, I literally used to have to go to movies with earplugs in because I was just, like, couldn't
No,
handle
yeah.
lots of sounds, couldn't
That might have
handle,
just been kid stuff. That might have just been a kid.
It could have been,
sensory
yeah.
thing.
I don't know. Oh, I wanted to talk about me getting mad and sad. We haven't finished this
Oh
conversation.
yeah. So Namer,
Here, but
have
let
you
me
ever
finish
seen
this.
him mad? Have you ever
Okay,
seen
let
him
Luke,
mad?
let Namer
Like,
finish
actually
his.
mad?
Let Namer
Yeah,
finish.
yeah,
I've seen him.
sorry,
I've seen him.
sorry,
I've seen him
sorry,
frustrated,
sorry.
mad. I've seen him frustrated and mad before. Never seen him sad. Like I've never seen. But the thing is, Daniel is like probably the most in touch with his feelings out of all of us in a
think
good
so.
way. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes he used to do this once a week, predominantly when he was in a relationship. But we're not gonna talk about that anymore. He used to do this once a week where he would just basically give like a feeling
Really just
dump,
calling
like
me out.
a really long text, not as long as the text he sent about his girlfriend or justifying that he was breaking up with his girlfriend, but a text
near that
that basically be like, I don't know, I just feel so unfulfilled with life. Like, school's not really doing anything. I just feel like I'm just going through the motions. I just hate it, stuff like that. Basically,
It would
that
just
would
be my
that was what it
weekly
boiled down to.
emotions, and then I would just rant them out because I felt like I needed to tell someone.
And then you'd be like, I don't want a girlfriend, but I kind of do at the same time. But I don't know. I want to be one that matters in a relationship that matters, stuff like that. So he's like, I've read him being like really sad and stuff like that. I'm sure he's been sad on his own, but like I've never seen him
Yeah.
physically sad. Yeah.
I think Luke might have seen me sad. I don't know if he remembers this though. When our lab, we had to put down our lab, and I found out, like standing on the front
right.
lawn. We were all there. Like it was
remember
like
that.
it was your family.
That was on
and my
Obama's
family.
second inauguration.
I don't know why Luke
Yes.
always brings this up. Every time I bring this story up, he's like, and
It's
that
the
was on
benchmark.
Obama's second inauguration.
It's the benchmark.
I
of
didn't
the
remember
world.
that. Luke,
There's
for
two
Luke,
distinct moments.
it's so
between-
funny that for
there's a
Luke,
pre-
that day is marked by Obama's second inauguration, and for me, it's marked by one of the saddest moments in my childhood.
No,
and
it's not
just like
just-
this.
It's
Yeah.
not just a Luke's day. It's a separate of the
It's
world.
history.
There's a pre-Obama's second inauguration.
pre-Obama-
There's a post-Obama's.
I would like to point out the
Second.
reason that made me so sad was
That's how we
because that
divide
dog had
events in the
literally
world now.
been- That
Oh, yeah.
dog had literally been with me since I was born. Because the
You talking
dog
about
was like
Rover?
a year and... No.
No.
Bandit?
Molly.
What?
Ronald?
You don't remember my pet's names, Namer. You never remember them.
Boomis?
Just don't try.
Boomer? Robinson?
You never
I don't
met
remember.
Molly. Namer, you never met Molly. 'Cause
Oh,
that was
Molly.
in 2012. That was in 2013. So that
No,
was
he had a dog. No, I remember his dog. It was
The
like it
yellow
was a golden
lab.
retriever or something. The yellow lab.
It was
yeah,
a yellow
that's right,
lab.
that's
Yeah.
right.
But it was kind of old, so it's kind of hard to tell what it was. But yeah, she was with me my entire life. So like, the day I was
Yeah.
born, like I'd always had that dog around, and so there are photos of me like taking naps with her and stuff like that, and all that stuff all throughout. So when it was like 10
You
years
killed her.
old, to find out we have to put down our dog, I was like crying, hugging her on the front yard because we were just out there talking, and then my mom came back from the vet, I guess, and was like, "Oh, we went, and
Yeah.
they said it's time to put her down, so we're gonna take her in a few minutes."
And
so
then you watched
say your
Obama's
last
second
goodbyes, and I was like,
inauguration.
"It came out of nowhere. What's going on?" And I feel like it didn't come out of nowhere. Like we had been talking about it, but like for me, it felt like
because
it
she had
came
a
out of
tumor, right? She had some kind of.
she was
tumor
just she
somewhere,
had
right?
abnormal growth, and her joints were starting to be in a lot of pain, and it came to the point where like she was having difficulty walking, and it's a thing that happens to all dogs where they get old, and it's just you have to kind of make the decision that keeping them around is worse for them than yeah. But
like,
that's
yeah.
one moment that I remember being sad. Luke, I don't know if you there are a few times where I've like had morning cries, like where I'll be like crying right before we like get in the car or whatever, and like because we would drive together to like high school, so I
Right,
would be
to
crying,
school.
and then I try to compose myself like and then we'd
Yeah,
like
Daniel
be
was
driving in the
very-
car, and I'd be like, it's fine, it's fine.
Daniel was very
everything's fine now."
sensitive when we were younger.
What-
I made him
when did-
cry.
when
I'll
did
give,
that
I'll give you
happen?
an
When did that ever
I'll give you a
happen?
specific example, and I'm just gonna say 4 numbers, and he's gonna know immediately. 1021, 1020, I believe is the correct. I think he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I
love
can
inside
explain the
jokes. I'd
story.
love to
I
be
can
part
explain
of
the
one one
story
day.
really quickly. That's a specific date and time. That day, it was another one of those long rants where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell my friends how I feel," and I sent it to a group chat, and that's already a bad thing, right? It's like a group chat of friends I barely even talk to,
Okay, no, listen.
Yeah.
This was a whole text about why he wanted to kind of break up with his girlfriend, why he thought she was doing the wrong thing when it came to certain friendships, because his girlfriend was in some kind of like friendship triangle drama. She was choosing the wrong person, and Daniel went on this whole long-winded rant about like why everything was fucked, why like he thought she was making the wrong decision, why he wanted to break up with her, and all this different shit. And then he sent it to this big group chat with at least 10 people plus his girlfriend.
On
And
accident.
the two
Okay,
people
wait,
that
hold on.
yeah, on accident.
Hold on.
And with his girlfriend and the 2 people that she's split between. Yeah.
I wrote the entire text message in that group chat without realizing, thinking I was talking to you guys. I typed that whole thing out there, and then I hit send, and then I read at the top, and I literally had a panic attack. Now, here's what I didn't know. I was panicking all morning long. And then I found out she had, my girlfriend at the time, had left the group chat a few weeks earlier. And I just hadn't noticed because it wasn't a group chat we talked a
Saved
lot in.
by
So
the
she
Bell.
literally, okay, but you would think Saved by the Bell. I, thinking she was in that group chat, my initial reaction was like,
Apologize to her.
I gotta apologize. So she gets an apology from me out of nowhere, and she's super confused. She's like, it's a long apology, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah, and it's a panicked apology because I'm like, I just woke up this morning and I'm like freaking out. And I was texting
You know
Luke
what
like,
the
oh my
funny
god,
thing
what
is,
do I
though?
do? And people in the group chat, dude, they were like, okay. And some people laughed, and some people just said, I don't feel like I should have seen this. And it was like, oh, it was so awkward, man.
That was when Rory was in the group chat too, just for no reason. Just
I'd like
Did
to
he
think in
leave?
my
I felt
mind.
In
like
our
he
group
left.
chat.
I feel like I feel like he just left the
He
group
did
chat
leave.
at that
That was-
moment. It's like
I'd like
Rory
to think-
Brady left this group chat.
I'd like to think
Uh-huh.
he was probably typing in who question mark, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, that was meant for, and then he just writes cares and then just left. That's what I like to think. That Rory was like, he's like, who? Asked.
Oh my god,
And this-
that is something he would do. That was, but
You know what?
so
you know
Luke,
the funny
that
thing
morning,
is though. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that morning.
That
I
morning
was
was
like
one of those times.
so panicked, like my emotion. I was just over because I I was texting you guys because I wanted to talk out my emotions. So sending it to all these people meant like I was suddenly confronted with like I have to act on this, blah 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 blah. And so I was like crying, panicking, like is this gonna ruin my relationship? Because I wasn't sure that I wanted it to end yet. Probably should have been. I mean, you know, I had all these doubts. But anyways, it's like so all of these tears are just like flowing out of my eyes. Nobody's home because my parents leave to go to work early, and my sister has school earlier.
Well,
than
this was on a Sunday or Saturday because this was during band. That was like the day before a day of a competition.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No, it was. It definitely was. Because we had.
I thought it might have been the Friday, and then the competition was the day after.
No, it was the day of. Because we ate lunch at the rehearsal, and I remember.
Goes to show you how good my memory is.
We purposely sat a table across from our friend group at the time, like me, you, and Joey, our other friend, purposely sat like a table away from everybody else. And then I saw Daniel just nervously glancing up at them every so often.
Yeah. I was gonna say so that morning I was crying, and then like I texted you like, what do I need to do? And you were like, stop panicking, like this it's not that bad. And I was like, it is that bad, it's so horrible, I don't know what I'm gonna do, should I apologize to her, blah blah blah, blah. And you're like, just calm down, it's fine, it's not that bad. Like I don't know what you sent me, but you kept telling me like just you shouldn't worry about it.
He sent an inspirational quote by Mahatma Gandhi.
I just calmed myself down, and then like we had to get in the car together, so I was just like really silent in the car. I felt like I was just being like really like uncomfortable because I was like,
oh yeah,
I don't want to talk this out in person because that's the reason I sent this text. Like I'm just uncomfortable with, I don't know. That's all I wanted.
So
what
for
were you gonna say about it?
I was gonna say I thought it was really funny because I was friends with Daniel's girlfriend. I was close friends with Daniel's girlfriend at the time. At the time. And she got mad at Daniel for breaking her trust by, like, he was going to tell it to us, but then she got mad at Daniel for being about to tell it to us, even though she had already told me.
Let me explain this a little bit better because you just confused everyone in the audience. Here's what happened. I was about to send a text of like something she had said to my friends because I was like, I want to talk about this, right? And when I did that, then I accidentally sent part of that text to the big group chat, right? And so she found out about it eventually, partly because I apologized preemptively before she even found out about it. But anyway, so she got really upset and she texted Luke like, I can't believe he would betray me like this, despite the fact that she literally, I think, was it the day before she was going to do the same thing, take one of my texts and send it to you, or she did do the same thing where she took one of my texts and sent it to you?
She did do the same thing.
Okay,
you guys were a great couple.
Kind of this ironic moment where he's like, this is so ironic. Like, how can you be angry at him for talking about one of your texts and sending it to like, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys were so healthy with each other. I don't know why it never worked out. But
so healthy?
Yeah.
Did you actually
You guys
think
made each other really better.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I'm being super sarcastic, dude. Are you?
Okay. I thought you were. I was like, did he not? Because you said, like the day we broke up, you thought we were fine. So that's why I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic there.
So for me, the funny thing, because I'm going to talk about my perspective on this, right? So I didn't really hang out with y'all that much that year. This was sophomore year of high school. Like, I had my own things going on, just doing stuff. I hung out with a different friend group a lot. But we would hang out, like, every, like, once a month, maybe once every other month, stuff like that. So for me, Daniel, like, I think Daniel, the way he did it, I'd like to think in his mind, he was like, I have to go to the great Naimur about this, but I don't want to waste his time. So I'm going to condense what happened, ask him for advice and stuff like that. So, I felt like kind of like his father in a way. He'd be like, hey, Naimur, I messed up really badly. I did this thing.
Oh, and, didn't I text you?
Yeah, you would always you would come to me.
No, you texted him separately because me, Daniel, and Joey were all in a group chat, and then me, Daniel, and Naimur were in a group chat separately.
Yeah, and I didn't want to double text.
Yeah, exactly. But Daniel would just come to me directly, and I kind of liked it. I felt like a mafia don. I was like, "This is what you do. I'm gonna take care of it. Don't worry.
This is what you gotta do.
They're gonna owe me a favor.
Can't refuse.
It's like I'm gonna make a proposal. I'm gonna make a favor. One day I'm gonna ask you." And I was just coughing Godfather. Yeah. I was like, this is cool. I feel like I have some type of, authority, which is not the case at all. It was a joke. But, I'd just be like, dang, what did he do this time? And I was like, all right, wise old Naimur is going to give him the intuition of a lifetime. And I'd be like, just break up with her. And he'd be like, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe, but we'll see.
I always asked him. I was like, because I valued your opinion. And then you'd always be like, dude, just break up with her. And I'd be like, oh man, I don't know if that was the right one. Like, I see what
But
you're
I would say it very
saying,
eloquently. I would say it like articulate. I'd be like, I believe that you're better off. You need to find yourself. You need to focus on yourself. Love yourself. Focus on yourself. Do better. Things like that. And you're like, that's a good idea. I'm going to think about that. And I guess you took it as, oh, I really liked your advice of telling her to stay or keeping her. I was like, I'm really glad you did that. Yeah, that was so funny. It was so funny.
like to
It was
point
always
out
funny looking on the outside, looking in those situations because, just looking because I didn't. It's like when you watch like YouTube drama, like you generally don't care, but like when you get like a condensed version from like a YouTube channel or like a TikTok video,
yeah, it's like this is what happened with this relationship. Yeah,
it's like our Hype House kind of or whatever, or Dixie D'Amelio
and then
Griffin Johnson.
and then that breakup split up our friend group.
It was a civil war.
That's the only
kind of.
Yeah, no, there was a civil war. We all killed ourselves. We all killed each other.
We all killed ourselves. Luke thinks the Civil
Green
War
New
was
Deal.
was political suicide.
It was the New Deal. We kind of switched our political alignments.
Oh my god.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, and I had no stakes in this whatsoever, so I literally could do no right or wrong.
I want to put
great.
this out there. My relationship was not abusive in any way. It was not like, it's not.
It's just a high school
I feel like we're
relationship,
making it out to be
It
this
just didn't work
horrible
out.
thing. It was just like we weren't communicating properly, and I started kind of like questioning everything without acting on any of that like doubt, and so it just kind of became this mess of like
It was
I
just
probably
pettiness,
in that
right?
relationship for way
That's
too
how
long.
relationships work, right? It's just pettiness. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you just, especially
And
in high school, because nobody really thinks to
I
communicate.
disagreed with her on
so.
some major points, especially like Luke was saying, like how she was like treating some of this like this problem that she was having in her life, and it's like
Yeah.
I guess it's not really my place to have an opinion on that, but it just felt like she was doing objectively the wrong thing in my opinion, and so that's why there was that conflict. But then when I confronted her about it, she'd be like, "Get off my back" and stuff like that, which I understand because it's like it really isn't my place. And now hindsight, I'm like, I know what I would do differently, but I can't go
See,
back.
that was when and why my relationship with her, like my friendship with her, started to deteriorate because I told her, "Listen, you're making the wrong decision. Like, don't fucking do this." And then she just stopped talking to me.
Some people just, that's the thing I don't understand about a lot of people. Like with close friends, it depends, but like a lot of people, like when they ask for your advice, they really don't want your advice. They just want you to agree with them and be like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. It's like, oh yeah, I think that's a good idea. They just want you to basically say that. They never want you to be like, oh, what's that? You want me to do something actually reasonable or like take a look and see that I'm doing something wrong? Well, why did I even come for your advice? Thanks, whatever.
I think Naimur's
so
adding
much,
somebody
dude.
right now, and I agree.
No, I think
I'm probably
here's something that I
projecting,
find
but like
something I find interesting though is a lot of times people will like come to people for advice, but it's not really advice. What they're like, what you're saying, they're asking for justification for what they want to do. But it's also this thing where it's like, I've learned that when people come to you with their problems, they don't always want a solution. And I've always been like a problem solver person where it's like, okay, what is the most
me too.
reasonable, logical way to solve this? So I always try to like, here's how you should solve this, blah, 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 blah. And that's why whenever I'm having a problem and I come to you guys and you give me like step-by-step advice or tell me like, here's the reasonable thing to do because you're not in a reasonable mindset at the time. Like, that's why I trust you guys. That's why I send you guys. So it's like, for me to like have a relationship where like, you tell each other problems and you're just supposed to listen to each other. It was just like kind of a shocking thing to me that I didn't fully grasp. I think that was
You
my
just have to
issue.
be like, yes, I agree.
I've heard
that's so
that's
messed up, man.
something therapists have to take into account while seeing clients is that men more often than women want solutions to their problems and women want validation. So I've heard therapists have to take that into account when
Makes
treating
sense.
people. Yeah.
I think
it's just
I
in
understand
general
that, though. I
with
think
some
that makes
people.
Yeah.
I think some people are just genuinely like that. They just don't want to necessarily find a problem or like find the solution because maybe there isn't a clear cut solution, but it's just like they're thinking like I want to get this all out, and I want to seem like I'm in the right, when you may not always be. Like just by definition, you're not always in the right. But when people are saying that you're not in the right, that just makes you feel angry. It's like, I shouldn't even come to you with this stuff because you're not helping whatsoever. It's like I'm literally just telling you how I see it. You know what I mean? It gets kind of annoying when that happens, especially in high school, dude. It's just people are just like, whatever. And like
people
I also
are very
like
fake in
I remember,
high school. I just want to put that out there. People are very
that is true.
fake in high school.
I had an English teacher. I mean, we all had this English teacher. It was a sophomore year. We had an English teacher. She said something that I was just like I was thinking about. I still think about it every now and then. She basically was like,
Mhm.
"Is haven't you guys like ever had this friend, where it's like, or like whenever you're in a rut, did you always have two types of friends? One, you're like that girl they'll be like, or like, she was like, especially girls, like you'll have that friend. It's like when you're like mad, they're like, yes, sis, like I'm super mad too. Let's screw everyone, like whatever. Like they share the same energy with you, and you go to them in certain times." But then in certain other instances, you go to the friend that's like, "Oh my god, I needed that advice. Thank you so much." I'm like, "That's BS." Like I feel like you really need. Like to me, I'm like, "That's such BS, dude. That's such like, that's a middleman." It's I hate the middleman aspect of that stuff. It's so annoying.
I
It's
think
like,
I was just gonna say that's interesting because I always want to try and do the right thing. So if I'm wrong, and when I come to people with my problems, and I'm like, this is what I'm thinking about, and if they're like, I don't want to be like, I don't want a yes man who's always like, yep, that sounds great. Oh yeah, you should do that. No, I get where you're coming from. It's like I want somebody who will critique me, and even if it's hard, like it's hard to confront that, where it's like I'll
but
tell
you're
you
very
guys a
reasonable,
problem,
man.
and you guys will give me an answer that I don't like. I'll be like, man, I really don't like that answer, but I know it's the right thing, and now I have to like listen to them, and like it's just
well,
I
the
don't
problem
know.
with you is, I think with you, it's like when you give advice,
Yeah.
you're very like risk averse. Like you don't like taking risks. So
That's
whenever
true.
someone's
That's
doing a
why
risky thing,
that-
you're like,
there's
don't
a-
do the risk. It's not going to work out. And
Yeah.
so, like on multiple occasions, this has happened. And Luke has come up with this great quote that I love.
No,
it's
Luke
like whenever
and Joey.
Daniel,
I don't know who came up with
Oh,
it
yeah.
first.
it's like when Daniel,
What is it?
it's like when I'm in a rut, I ask Daniel for advice and then I do the opposite.
Yeah.
That was
It's like,
Joey,
or no,
yeah.
it's just, I don't know who it was, but it was just really funny where it's like, whenever I want to, I think it was mostly applied to relationship advice, where it's like, whenever I need relationship advice, I ask Daniel what I should do, and then I do the opposite of it, because I always do like literally the least riskiest thing, because I don't know if it's like I lack confidence, but it's like, I
I think
I
you
don't
like being
like
safe.
confrontation. I really hate confrontation. I really do. And it's like strange because like I always want to try and do the right thing at any given time, and a lot of times that requires like face-to-face communication. So I think
But I
that
think you do
is
like
where a lot
being-
of my problems come from. It's just like
You probably
not
prefer
wanting to
stability because you have to admit, I think all of your
Yeah.
life has been in stability. Like just in,
Yeah,
in,
for sure.
I
in
hate
terms
change.
of all your
I
life,
hate
right?
change of any kind. I for a while I like was having so much anxiety about like life and stuff like that, and I finally like I went to therapy about it, and we found out like my issue was I literally cannot handle change. So I have learned how to like adapt and like be okay with things changing. Like the transition from middle school to high school, it's like you got to be okay. Things are going to change in life. Yeah.
See, I think
Again,
so. My
Yeah, go ahead.
family is Irish. Like my parents are Irish. I feel like it's in my blood to adapt to change.
be
well.
risky.
Yeah.
Be risky.
Yeah, to be
No,
no,
just
not
adapt
just
to
be risky,
things
but to adapt to change. Like I think it's been like in most Irish people, I think that's kind of necessary for the things that the country has gone through.
It's
and
kind
the
of like a
country's people have
cultural
gone through in
thing.
the
You guys
past.
just
So,
have
like,
kind of like
yeah.
adopted. Like it's just part of your
It's in your
Mhm.
blood.
Naimur, you were
yeah.
gonna say something.
I mean, I don't know. I think given with my parents' background, stuff like that, they were immigrants, and there have been time like I think if you look at us from 10 years ago versus now, like we're completely different, and that's because they took so many risks, you know. And
Oh yeah, mine too. I think.
yeah, your parents too, but like
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel, for the most part, from what I've noticed over the years, is like his life has relatively remained the same. His house is the same. His like family is about the same. Like, you know, they always have Coca-Cola stocked up in the mini fridge. It's always a constant in their life. Maybe they'll remodel
I've had
the game room every now and
bedroom
then.
for like 9 years of my life, 10 years of my life. No,
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
when
mean,
I moved
just
out
like
of the other room, but anyways, yeah.
oh, you moved out. I didn't know that, but yeah, Daniel.
Oh
a lot.
yeah, no, he did.
I feel like for you, Daniel, a lot of your life is just it's been so stable that no offense, I don't think you've really
Yeah.
had any big type of adversity in terms of like an external type of adversity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure mentally
Sure.
and stuff like that, you've had those roadblocks and stuff like that. But I think
Yeah.
just in
I had a
terms
lot of
stuff in
mental
front of you-
roadblocks in my early childhood and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I
yeah,
had,
but-
you know, like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and again, it's so interesting seeing you guys. Well, primarily Daniel, because he's American. His family's like from like been American for generations. Like it's like just a normal suburban white family. It's just like just seeing that stability is so weird to me. I'm sure for Luke at first it seems weird too, but just like oh my god, they can just talk to each other about their problems normally, and like they can have conversations for a while. Like wow, what is that like?
Yeah.
You can just you're telling me when you have a problem, you're fine with going to your parents and asking about it. It's like whoa.
Yeah, for the most
That's
part.
a
There are
neat
some
thing.
things that
Yeah.
It's really weird for
I-
me, but You just get used to it. For me,
I
at
get
least.
that. I think I just want to put this out there for anyone who is like having, any type of issues in their life, whether it be mental or physical struggles or anything like that, or even if your life is going
over
perfectly fine. No, here's what I'm gonna say. I genuinely think like therapy is a great solution, like for anyone, for any place in your life. And
I think I'm obliged
thing-
to say that, but yeah.
well, one thing is
Yeah,
like
he's been paid off by big therapy.
when I have the money, Luke's being paid off by.
lobbyists.
When I have the money and the time, or like when I get out of college, that's something I want to do at least like once a month. Is have like something like I can go to and talk because, the thing that helped me the most in my early childhood, like I said, I had lots of problems. I had like the most unreasonable anxiety about dying for the longest time, and I had unreasonable anxiety about change, and I had all of those sensitivity issues. And going to therapy, like subconsciously, I think taught me all of these ways to handle stress because I've realized like that whole like there's that whole saying where it's like whenever you're anxious it's because you're thinking about the future, and whenever you're sad it's because you're thinking about the past. So you're happiest when you're thinking about the present, or there's some ancient saying like that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear that saying until much later in my life, but I had basically adopted that idea where it's like whenever I was anxious I was like, okay, I remember the rules are you need to stop thinking 10 steps ahead. You need to stop thinking of the worst case scenario, because the worst case scenario almost never happens. Like it's like 0.001% of the chance does that ever happen. So I would always be like stressed, like, oh my god, I have a test today and I'm gonna fail it because like I didn't study at all last night and I'm super tired, and what if I'm late to school, and then and then I would just tell myself like that exact same like regiment where it's like I've learned, think about what's going on right now. I can change right now. I can like stop worrying about it and stuff like that. And without therapy I wouldn't have learned that. So I think it's like that's what I'm trying to get at is if you are considering it, like just do it. Like it might be hard to find a therapist, but I genuinely think therapy has like a lot of benefits, and it's kind of stigmatized, which I don't like. Like people need to
well,
talk
for
stuff
me,
out.
especially my family's perspective, right? Like my mom's very traditional. My dad too. It's like they don't think of mental health as that big of an issue, right? They just think of it as a gimmick or like a way to get money out of you.
Yeah.
So like I've never taken therapy. It's never occurred to me to take therapy. It's funny because I feel like my parents would benefit a lot from it, and me too. I'm sure. It's just nice to vent.
Anyone would. It's just it really is.
Yeah, anybody would. So it's a very interesting thing from coming from my background too, because also it's like I know you say like if you can do therapy, do it. But I understand, like, listen, if whoever's listening out here is a second generation American or even first generation American, or comes from a culturally traditional household with a very basic, narrow-minded mindset, like, I get it, man. Like, it's really difficult to do that. The thing you can do is you have to have a good support system outside of your parents. Because obviously, I love my parents. They're great. Like, for the most part, they've helped me no matter what. But I understand, like, there needs to be an understanding from people, especially people that are... Because I look at TikToks, right? And you always see, like, like an Indian girl or guy, and they're like, yeah, like, I just got a boyfriend or girlfriend, and, I'm hiding it from my parents because I'm worried that they're going to figure something out or whatever. And then, the dumb people would comment on TikTok, like, why don't you just, just put your foot down and just be honest with them. I feel like they'll appreciate it.
That's really
it's like,
stupid.
It's a very basic, backwards-minded, like, concept. Like, you just have to... I think for a lot of people in this generation that have, like, their parents are immigrating here, it's a transitional phase, right? So it's a given that when you come to a place with such more given cultural freedoms and just like socially different compared to like the other in the more, I guess, eastern side of the world, it takes time, right? So I think the benefit of that is you learn these things, and then once you get older and have kids of your own, you can kind of become a better platform for your kids of the future. And then
I'd be a better parent.
You basically break the cycle, right? Like I think that's
in
the long terms of what's happening, right? Like I think our parents learn from their parents, right? Like Daniel, I don't know if you want to talk about your mom's past or anything, but she's definitely learned from her parents' cycle and broken it, right? With you guys, she's much more loving and understanding. From what
I'll put
the way
this
I
out
see
there.
It,
For my family, I have like 7 or 8 grandparents because literally all of them divorced and like 3 of them remarried. So it's like lots of divorce in the past, and like so they definitely learned from stuff like that.
My parents almost never talk about their childhood. Like, is that weird? Naimur, how often do yours talk about their childhood?
Only when they want to let me know how tough it was.
Back in my day.
Yeah, no, my parents have never really told me anything about it. My dad has he has scars, not for any bad reason, because his dad used to own a butcher shop. He has scars
Yeah,
because
and so he was like
cut
working
meat all
and
the time.
stuff like that.
So
yeah.
I just wanted to.
My
make
dad
that-
has
he
scars because his
he
dad.
has stories about those, and he tells us
that
those.
could have
And
come
my
off
mom
so
has like.
bad.
I know, that's
Go
why
ahead,
I wanted
sorry.
to clarify. Yeah, he
you're
has
good.
stories about those, and he tells us about them. And my mom has like stories about living on the farm and stuff, and she tells us about those. But other than those specific times and for those specific reasons, my parents never talk about their childhood. I don't know, it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, they did grow up in not very well off Catholic place.
I think resentment is a very commonality amongst people with childhoods, especially when you grow up and you see kids with
People
easier
with
lives than you,
childhoods.
or just your childhood. Resentment with
I know.
people with nicer childhoods. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I know
I
what you
think a
mean.
key example for me is that because my brother and sister have such a wider age gap from me, and they've lived in much harder times in my family's life, like when they were first starting off in America, because they
Yeah.
moved from different countries to America, that they had really tough times, and that they weren't like in poverty in America, but you know, it was some tough times, right? And so, like my brother, like you know, he never really got everything he wanted. Our mom was always strict with him and stuff like that, and you know, he just like he didn't really ask for much because he understood he couldn't. And so when I remember a lot when I was younger, right? Like I remember specifically getting an Xbox because I asked for it from my parents, and then like getting games and stuff like that. And all these things, like when I was really young, like kindergarten, first grade and stuff like that, he'd be like you're so spoiled, like, you know, you ask for whatever and you get it, like stuff like that. And I used to be really angry at him for it. It's like, I can't control, like just because my parents are now better, or our parents are now better when they're raising me, like just because we're in a financially better period in our lives, it's like, I didn't control that. Like I get it. Like looking back on it now, I just, you know, it's clearly very unreasonable. I'm sure he didn't try to put this on a young like 5-year-old kid when he was in high school. Like he didn't mean to do that, but you know, just what happens. And then like now, because what's really interesting for me is that, so we have a family friend group, a huge friend group, or Bengali friend group in a certain thing, and like, you know, I'm like one of the younger generations in that friend group. So my brother is like actually basically the oldest generation, or a part of the oldest generation. My sister's like a part of that too, and I'm in like the younger generation where it's like I'm one of the younger kids. So like they've known me since I was born, like all that stuff like that. And so later on, my parents make friends with a different friend group of Bengali people, and like they're all like not recently married, but like, you know, relatively younger, and their kids are super young. They're like 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, you know. And I'm like actually one of the oldest people now in the friend group, or in that youth group, I guess. So it's so weird looking at those kids, because like I see them, you know, with all the brand new stuff. They live in the really nice houses. I'm like, wow, you guys have it so easy, like whatever. So it's just like, it's a weird cycle, man. It's like, I don't know if maybe they'll look at other kids when they get older and be like, oh wow, you guys live in a 10,000 square foot house. I live in a 5,000 square foot house.
Yeah,
you guys have it so lucky. It's just relativity, right? Like that's all it is.
No, yeah. Well, you know what I find, I feel like this is, we have to end the podcast soon, but one of my favorite quotes is, comparison is the thief of joy, right? If you're constantly comparing yourself or your life to other things, you are going to be unhappy, right? You kind of have to, like, the more you focus on who you are and appreciate who you are and the things you have, the happier you will tend to be.
For sure. I think we care about what other people think so much, and we look at other people, yet we don't realize that, like, I think another thing about, to bring it all the way back to like body positivity, whatever, like, you know, when you're fat or something, or if you're fat and like you're just like, oh, you feel like everybody's looking at you, right? You're under a microscope, because like, you know, you're just like, oh, I'm so big, like you're thinking about how everybody's looking at you. Maybe they find you like repulsive or disgusting, but in reality they really don't, because they don't notice, because they're thinking about themselves, like you are at that moment too. Like everybody has their own thing going on. It's like, you know, like I don't think I've ever noticed like an overweight person and been like, ew, which is ironic, because that's what I think other people look at me. You know what I mean? So it's
no, it's like,
it's really
people
weird.
have this very one-sided way of thinking of how life works, where it's like, oh, I feel like everybody's like looking at me. It's like, if you feel like, oh, one day you're like, oh, I have this acne on my face that I feel like everybody's staring at. It's like, no one is thinking about you. The amount that you're thinking about like your acne, that day that person's thinking about their hair, and that person's thinking about their shoes, and that person's thinking about their outfit. It's like, at any given time, rarely is anyone ever thinking about you, and if they are, they're in a conversation with you and they're not thinking about like who you are as a person or what you're doing. They're just thinking of what they're gonna say next, and it's like rarely are. Yeah, it's just you have to
what's a
realize
good indication of that?
you're not constantly being looked at. Mm-hmm.
You know what's a good indication of that is like when you get introduced to somebody new for the first time, and you're thinking of, okay, do not screw this up. Just say your name, super smooth. Just don't screw it up. Shake their hand really well, right? And you're thinking so much about that is that you completely don't pay attention to when they introduce themselves and like and you say their name. So like this happens so many times. I remember like just like meeting people. I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Naimur." It's like, "Yes, I did good." It's like they're like, "Hi, I'm."
I did it. I did it. Shake hand.
And then I'm like, crap, I didn't listen to what their names were. Completely forgot. It's like, oh my god. It's like, hey, dude. Or, yeah, you seem pretty cool. Dude. Guy. Whatever. It's like, and then like, you're like, oh, I should have just asked. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention. What was your name again?
Right.
And but like, you don't, it becomes way too late to do that. It happens to be so much. You know what I mean? So I have to like listen to context clues. I'm being like, oh, this person, oh, okay. And they're like, oh, come on, so-and-so. I'm like, okay, I understand it now. Or they're like, yeah. I'm like,
you're just waiting for somebody else to say their name. Yeah, I get that.
There's a College Humor sketch.
See,
about
what I do about it is I like take out my if we're like hitting it off, right? I take out my phone and I'm like, hey, can I get your phone number so we can like keep in contact or hang out another time? And then they give me their phone number. And I'm like, and what's your name again? And they say their first name, but I want to say, oh no, but I meant your last name.
I've heard this trick before, where you say, "Hey, what's your name again?" And then they say their name, and then you're like, "Oh, sorry, I meant your last name." I've heard that trick so many times. But yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know, man. And who knows how much longer social contact will remain? Coronavirus will still be remaining for at least a majority of next year, right? Because I
don't know.
Let's do a prediction. When do you think you're gonna get the vaccine? Like you'll be allowed to get the vaccine. You specifically.
June or July.
I'm going.
July.
That's what I've seen. That's what I've seen the
August.
projections. That's what I've seen projections for.
I'm going in August.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
mid 2021.
This is gonna age
like
poorly.
ED,
this is gonna age no matter whatever date we pick. It's gonna age poorly.
It's like the PS5. They didn't sell or make as many as they needed to, so it's just sold out for years.
Yeah.
It's also I don't know, man, because coronavirus apparently causes ED, so I don't know if I want the vaccine anymore. I'm just kidding.
Because you want ED?
Guys, he's joking. The coronavirus causes ED, not the vaccine.
I already have ED, so it doesn't matter. No.
I'm invulnerable. I want to apologize real quick to our audio listeners. Like 5 to 10 minutes ago, there was this obnoxious beeping. I don't know, for our audio listeners. Thank you, Luke, for helping me articulate. There was this obnoxious beeping downstairs because our vacuum cleaner,
I didn't hear it.
Not our Roomba. Okay, you didn't hear it. Okay, good. It might not have picked up. And then also, like 30 seconds after the beeping stopped, I was like, finally, some quiet. And I swear a helicopter just hovered over our house for like a minute straight, and my desk was shaking.
We live in a airplane hangar. Literally in an airplane hangar.
That would explain it. I mean, it would make a little more sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, this has been going on for quite some time.
This is a good podcast. We didn't hit any of the actual topics we wanted to do, but it felt more natural.
I feel like this was good, though. We had a lot of good conversation.
I actually want to record another one this week. I don't know. So the current plan, I'm gonna just do housekeeping, talk about the podcast itself and the airing. Current plan. So we're probably gonna release all 3 at once. The first 3 at least. So obviously it's gonna say we're gonna be talking about No Nuance November and the last 2, whatever. But the problem is they came out in December, even though we filmed them in November. But the whole goal is now, because we've been working so hard making the channel, the logo, all that stuff, is that, it kind of delayed our releases of the podcast because we didn't have everything finalized. But now we're like basically done. I told Daniel just to come up with whatever background music because we spent way too much time on that. And so the turnaround time should be we record these and then preferably we have them posted the next day.
Yeah.
Preferably. We'll see what happens. But and then right now it's 1 per week, and we're thinking earlier in the week. So like we record Monday, Tuesday, air Wednesday, something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I personally would be fine with doing 2 a week. You know what I mean? So 1 earlier in the week, like Monday or Tuesday.
So I wouldn't be. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. So we might. It may just become like minimum 1 a week. If we do more than that, then we'll do more than that. Like bonus.
Yeah, we'd be like Joe Rogan. Sometimes it's 3, 4 a week. Yeah, so maybe we'll do like 4 a
Yeah.
week. Maybe we'll do 5 a week.
Maybe we'll do
get
7
this,
a
maybe.
week. Maybe we just record
maybe
every
we'll
single
do,
day.
maybe,
No.
Maybe we'll do.
Maybe we do 8 a week. I'm saying we do 8. Multiple
Why don't
in
we?
one
Why
day.
don't we just make our podcast 8 hours long instead?
Dude, I feel like one day we should do that though. An 8-hour-long podcast. That'd be so fun. Like the Duncan
That'd be
Trussell, Joe Rogan podcast. It's
I
5
think
hours
it'd be
long.
cooler
long.
if we did it in person, where it's like 8 hours of just like.
Yeah, we'd have to
hanging
wait
out
till
in
it's in
person.
person for that.
All right.
Nah,
Well,
I don't think
is
so.
that all the
Alright.
housekeeping?
Is there anything else
Is
you
that
want to
it?
talk about? I don't know, but yeah.
Business-wise?
So expect 1 per week. I would like to start doing 2 per
It
week.
should
I
be
don't think they have
released
an
on
issue.
all platforms, but I don't know how quickly the release date is, so it may be delayed.
Primarily Spotify and
on,
YouTube.
like-
So we don't know if it's going to be on Stitcher or like iTunes. So we'll see.
I think
right?
it can be.
I
I
mean, we
think
can
it
always
can
try.
be. I
We
think
could
it
try,
can
but
be.
we'll see.
I think it can be on most platforms, like Google Play, all of those, like whatever people use. But it may be delayed the way we like put out our audio version onto those platforms. So who knows? Anyways, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. I know we talked about some serious
Yeah.
things, so hopefully it wasn't like depressing. We want to kind of be like a mood booster where it's like, be confident in yourself, like, you know, be happy. But we did talk about some serious things because, you know, it's
And
good
as long
to
as
talk
Luke
about
does not forget his microphone, we can record another one at the ending of the week.
It will happen.
That's what they call passive aggression, kids.
Wait, but you're
And
leaving
it's been
for
off
good. So
camera.
if you don't, Luke, if you don't take it home this weekend, then
Oh,
we
no.
can't record.
No, I know. I
at
will
all
take it.
over-
I will
okay,
take it
I was
this
like,
weekend.
if
feel like
you,
it was
if you
a-
don't
it
take
was
it home,
a-
no podcast.
It was a
What were you gonna
calculated
say?
move.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just gonna forget the microphone. Ah, darn! I guess we can't record in my busy room.
It was
at
extremely
home.
calculated. Luke, did you know they
Yeah.
were rearranging
No,
your room?
you know what happened? It was because Val came over here on Friday night, and I drove that night, and I just forgot to pack it.
Okay.
Luke,
Well,
did you know
Daniel,
they were
you're gonna have to
rearranging
make
your
a-
room? Sorry, this is
No,
random. One
I
last
had no
thought.
idea until
No idea?
until I came home on Friday. I had no idea.
I was a little surprised.
All right,
MTV Cribs
well,
style.
I hope
All right, see y'all.
everybody enjoyed.
Love you guys.
We gotta, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.